little over a decade ago, they had no team. Now it seems the entire city of Tampa is bullish on South Florida. The Bulls, led by Matt Grothe, they've engineered upsets before. Now the fine sophomore quarterback has to manage expectations. High expectations running wild with Steve Slayton, Noel Devine, and quarterback Pat White of West Virginia. It's a Big East showdown and the biggest game in South Florida history at the top of the hour. It was euphoric in South Florida after they beat Auburn, a similar feeling after they beat West Virginia in Morgantown last year, but this is different. Glad to have you with us on College Football Live, alongside my good friends and partners, Lou Holtz, Mark May. I'm Reese Davis. Mayday, the students in Levittown, as they're calling it now, they've been camping out for the primo seats for this game since last weekend on Sunday. In this game, you're going to see two Heisman Trophy candidates and arguably the guy who's been more dominant on defense than anybody else in the country in George Selvey. It's going to be a great night in Tampa.
It's a huge game, not for just one team, but for both football teams, but especially for West Virginia. It's a revenge game. South Florida went to Morgantown, beat them in their own backyard last year. But this is a game, it's on primetime TV, the only game in town everybody's going to be watching this football game. And not only that, it's up to West Virginia to prove to the voters and prove to America they are who we think they are.
I love a game like this because when you have two teams that are used to winning, it's like a heavyweight fight between two great fighters. One gets knocked down, he gets up, knocks the other guy down. You keep getting up off the ground. Poor teams, when they get knocked down, they don't bother to get up. That's why this is going to be great. But let's also remember this. Last year, West Virginia had 4 turnovers against South Florida and didn't make South Florida pay by not playing a safety in the middle of the field.
Yeah, that South Florida defense was fast enough to keep West Virginia from looking like they were running at a different warp speed. South Florida not backing away from the expectations. George Selvey saying this is the biggest game of our lives. Ought to be a great night, and Sean McDonough and Chris Spielman will have the call for us.
It is a beautiful night race here in Tampa and such a big game. We have an airplane flying over Raymond James Stadium where tonight, for the first time in the 11-year history of the University of South Florida football program, there will be a sellout crowd in attendance of 65,000 plus. That'll be 17,000 more than they've had for any other home game in their history. And of course, some of the excitement brought on by that big win at Morgantown last year, but now they're 3-0 this year already with a win over Auburn. And Chris, as we reflect back to the win last year in Morgantown, it was done on defense, as the fellas just mentioned. South Florida did a tremendous job stopping the run. West Virginia scored only 19 points in that ball game. They were held to 132 yards rushing, which was 171 below their season average. And Steve Slayton and Pat White way off their usual numbers in that game for Coach Rich Rodriguez.
Well, you look at what South Florida has to do. To me, it's 3 things. One is speed. We know South Florida has the speed. Steve Slayton told us that he's going to try to run inside tonight because he knows he can't get outside. Number 2 is discipline. They have to maintain their discipline when they play West Virginia. Pat White can put the ball in, take it out and run. If you have an assignment, make sure you follow your assignment before you get the ball. And 3, athlete for athlete, South Florida matches up well with West Virginia.
Most football fans around the country know about Pat White. We have another excellent quarterback here tonight in Matt Grothe of South Florida. Last year's Big East Rookie of the Year as a redshirt freshman. He led them to the win offensively in Morgantown last year. His coaches think he's better this year.
Well, yeah, he's better with the new mohawk. He looks better with that. Nice, got a little hitch there. What Matt Grothe has to do is do what he's been doing all year. He's got to make good decisions. Had a little trouble throwing the interceptions last year. This year hasn't thrown 1 interception. If he makes good decisions, spreads the ball around, 10 different guys have caught footballs for South Florida Bulls offense this year, and uses his legs when his legs are needed, South Florida can move the ball in this West Virginia defense.
One fun feature of our telecast coming up at the top of the hour. We'll take you on a trip inside the replay booth and learn more about how that process works. Let's get a preview from Rob Stone.
Sean, another element of today's broadcast, we have been allowed inside the replay booth, one of those thankless, oft-criticized jobs here in college football. Cameron's going to be in here all game. Both these gentlemen, our two officials, have been kind enough to be mic'd up. We'll hear them throughout the game, and they've already had one pregame conversation worried about the speed of West Virginia's offense, especially those laterals, Sean, once they cross the line of scrimmage. These guys could be awfully busy tonight.
West Virginia and South Florida. It is the Big East opener for each team, but a game that could go a long way toward determining who wins the conference in the final analysis. The kickoff at the top of the hour. Reese, back to you.
All right, Sean, did anyone else find it ironic that when Spiels was talking about Matt Grothe making good decisions, we got a good look at Matt's latest haircut?
He needs a new barber.
That could be a bad omen for the Bulls tonight. What has worked out well for South Florida the last couple of years, as the guys mentioned, the way that they've been able to deal with Steve Slayton. What's the key to the game for you, Mark?
Well, getting Steve Slayton going early, I think, is a key for the West Virginia offense. If you look at 2 out of his 3 games he was held under 100 yards has been against the South Florida defense. They have to get the ball in his hands to get his confidence going in this game. 43 yards rushing last year, just won't get it done in this game. He was not healthy last year coming into the game. This year he's 100% healthy and ready to go. And if he can make runs like this and cuts like this, he can score touchdowns early in this football game. And if that happens for West Virginia and their offense, I think that they will roll in this football game.
I think they have a chance. First of all, let's understand that West Virginia is on full-time salary. They spent 12 months studying South Florida. And what they did, South Florida played it with a 5-man line and have brought both safeties down. You'll see both of them come to the line of scrimmage on the snap of the ball, leaving nobody in the field, leaving them very vulnerable to play-action passes, post routes, and things of this nature. After studying that all year, I am sure that West Virginia will take advantage of that and look for Darius Renard, the fine wide receiver, to make some big plays.
All right, Lou, and to clarify, when you said West Virginia's on full-time salary, you are just referring to the coaching staff.
That's what I meant is they're full-time coaches, so they get paid to study film 12 months a year. That's right. Absolutely, that's what I meant.
How about the X factor of this game, Mark?
The X factor is Noel Devine, the great running back, the freshman for West Virginia. He's been simply divine. He's been spectacular this entire season. I know it's early in the season, but 24 rushes on the season. He's averaging over 11 yards per carry. I think if he gets at least 12 carries in this game, he will have over 100 yards. He just has the explosion. When he hits the ground running, he takes off. No one can catch him. He's so quick. From foot to foot, ground speed, ankle to ankle, whatever it is, he's got it all. And I think when you add Pat White into the mixture, you add Steve Slayton in the mixture, you put Noel Devine in there, very difficult to stop.
And also, he is going back home. He's from that area originally, so he gets a chance to go home and play in front of his folks also.
And what about your X factor, speaking of playing in front of people?
Well, I think it's going to be the crowd. You know, this is the first time. Now, South Florida's only been playing football for 11 years, 7 of them Division 1A. And this is the first time they've sold out this stadium for a home football game. It's the first time they've played a top 5 football team at home. Matter of fact, this is the highest ranked team that's ever played in Tampa before. The only other time that South Florida played in front of a number 1 or number 2 team was when they played Oklahoma the year 2002. I think they're going to be exceptionally motivated. West Virginia must take their crowd out of the game.
The highest ranked team that played in Tampa before. I played Super Bowl 18 there. We were ranked pretty high then.
Oh, yeah, but you couldn't beat West Virginia. I know your team. That's highest ranked college team.
Hey, you
keep bringing up that I played there. Hey, here I am. It's all about me.
You're the one that danced after scoring a touchdown in college football.
We got a great game here tonight.
You know what? We have freshman running backs. Mark mentioned Noel Devine. Mike Ford of South Florida, also highly touted, a freshman. Great skill positions on display tonight. West Virginia and South Florida. We'll have the pep talk that Lou's going to give the Bulls coming up in just a little while. Also get some picks from these guys. We've got much more to come on College Football Live, including the showdown in the Pac-10 on Saturday. These guys believe the Pac-10 perhaps is the best conference in the country. It'll be hard-pressed to find a better game, and could Ty Willingham spring an upset against USC.
College Football Live, brought to you by ESPN Game Plan. See the most college football every Saturday. To order, call your pay-per-view provider.
been a meteoric rise for South Florida when you consider this is just their 11th season playing football. 1997, they played their first game. In 2000, back when we all had our senses and we called the upper division in college football 1A, that's where South Florida was. And now they've made their first appearance in the top 25. And in their 11th year, they get a pep talk from Lou Holtz.
University of South Florida, ranked number 18th in the country nationally, entertains number 5 West Virginia. Last year, USF upset West Virginia in Morgantown. However, this year, USF's a one-touchdown underdog. This is what I would say to the University of South Florida football team just prior to kickoff. Man, you can be proud of what you've accomplished. Ranked number 18th in the country. We've never been ranked that high before. And for the first time in the history of the school, we sold out the stadium. 65,000 people will be there tonight. And we're undefeated thus far. You can be proud of what you've done. But we cannot be content. There's a rule of life that says you're either growing or you're dying. The tree's growing or it's dying. So's a marriage, so's a business, so's a football team. And the factor that determines whether you're growing or dying is this: are we trying to get better? Yes, we've done an awful lot of good things, but we cannot be content there. 11 years ago, we played the first football game ever, and it was Division I AA. Now, we're a lot like the bumblebee. Everybody said the bumblebee can't fly. By all aeronautical principles, it can't because its body's too big and its wingspan's too short. But fortunately, the bumblebee can't read, so it flies all over. People were saying, and the experts said, well, USF can't win in Division II, let alone Division I. But fortunately, we didn't listen to them. And today, we're competing for the championship. Men, don't listen to the people that said last year was lucky. They're hypocrites. A hypocrite is somebody who complains about the amount of sex and violence on their VCR. We beat them fair and square last year. We'll do it again. I know you're better than West Virginia. West Virginia knows it. You know it. And pretty soon the entire country will know it. Let's go.
Lou will rejoin us as soon as he gets back from checking out what's on his VCR. That's Steve. I'm teasing. Steve Slayton hoping to have some VCR and DVR-worthy moments against the Bulls in a bit.
College Football Live, brought to you by ESPN Game Plan. See the most college football every Saturday. To order, call your pay-per-view provider.
Moments away, a little less than 10 minutes from the Big East showdown. Pat White has been outstanding. He's yet to throw an interception this year. Had 3 turnovers a year ago in the loss at home against South Florida. Mountaineers and Bulls coming up. Also coming up on the Olive Garden halftime report, Mayday going to tell you why Florida will get swamped. I think what he's doing is putting the Gators on upset alert. That does not mean he's picking them to lose, but he might. There's also a Pac-10 conference call, and we'll get you up to date on the latest in the Major League Baseball pennant races. Guys, time to do a little take your pick with this showdown game in the Big East, South Florida and West Virginia. Who do you have?
I like West Virginia. There's one fact that's been overlooked. Greg Frey, the offensive line coach at West Virginia, came there from South Florida. In addition to that, the quarterback coach for West Virginia also was at South Florida last year, and I think that'll be a great motivating factor for their players to play exceptionally well.
Well, we spent a lot of time talking about the running game of West Virginia, but what about the passing game? Going back to last week, quarterback Pat White was extremely efficient and sharp with the football, 18 of 20 last week. So carrying that over into this football game, I think that's going to pay huge dividends for West Virginia. I'm picking West Virginia. All
right, West Virginia is the pick here. We are now closing in on 8 minutes away from kickoff. We're a week away from the so-called blockbuster Saturday, but it's going to be a huge Friday night in Tampa, and Sean McDonough will have the call.
Thank you, Reese, and welcome everyone to ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented in high definition by Pioneer's Curo HD TV. The mayor of Tampa has declared today Green and Gold Day in anticipation of the biggest game in the 11-year history of South Florida football. And Bulls fans have responded, selling out Raymond James Stadium for the first time. But for all the buzz, the real story is on the field. South Florida won this matchup in Morgantown last year, and number 5, West Virginia, can't afford to lose it again tonight. The players know what's on the line.
This is what I know.
This is what I know.
We are undefeated.
We are undefeated.
We are ranked 18th in the nation.
We are ranked 5th in the nation.
And I know we lost to these guys at home last year.
I know that beating West Virginia last year was one of the biggest accomplishments in school history.
I know we beat Auburn in week 2.
I know they beat Auburn.
I know that South Florida is a very hot team right now.
I know West Virginia is about speed.
I know West Virginia gets all this hype, but they haven't played South Florida yet.
If we lose, our BCS title hopes are all but lost. This is what you need to know.
You need to know. Beating Auburn is just the beginning.
Losing this game, it's not an option.
Welcome everyone to Tampa, Florida, and the biggest game in the history of our Friday night telecast on the ESPN family of networks. Tonight, number 5, West Virginia takes on 18th ranked South Florida in the Big East Conference opener for each team. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Raymond James Stadium. Sean McDonough along with Chris Spielman. Tremendous atmosphere here. You couldn't always say that for South Florida, despite the many accomplishments of this program in their brief 11-year history. But they've never been better positioned than they are right now, ranked for the first time in their history 2 weeks ago. Number 18 now. A win tonight, Chris, would give them the inside track on a Big East Conference title, with a long way to go, obviously. Potentially a BCS berth. All these players know what's at stake tonight. They also know what last year meant when the Bulls went up to Morgantown and won, ending West Virginia's hopes for a Big East Conference title in a BCS bowl game. What's going to happen tonight if West Virginia is going to fare better?
Well, West Virginia has to be able to run the football. When you talk about running the ball with the Mountaineers, it starts with right there, Pat White right there, the quarterback. He can run inside, he can run outside, he can beat you with speed. He also has a little bit of power for being 195 pounds. If he ain't getting done, you got my man Steve Slayton. Pure speed, great vision, and look for Steve Slayton to keep the ball inside tonight. Sean, South Florida has speed on defense. Didn't have success last year running outside.
He went into that game last year against South Florida with 6 straight 100-yard games or better. The Bulls held him to 43 yards, largely because of 2 men, defensive end George Selvey and linebacker Ben Moffitt. They're terrific.
Yeah, let's start with Ben Moffitt. Ben Moffitt not only has to do it physically, he has to do it mentally. He has to be sharp. If he audibles defenses, he has to put that defense in position to defend the option. When you defend the option, you got to play assignment football. George Selvey just has to be George Selvey. He goes 1,000,000 miles per hour. He looks like a Tasmanian devil. He loves it. He gets after it. It's a great matchup to watch if you love college football, and South Florida can tackle.
Down on the field trying to hear himself in this deafening noise. Here's Rob Stone.
Oh, Sean, this feels like Gainesville. It feels like Tallahassee, but it is Tampa. I've lived here for the last 7 years. This is unprecedented. You rarely see green and gold out in the streets in Tampa. That has changed the last couple weeks. Head coach Jim Leavitt is largely responsible for this. I caught up with him pregame about 36 minutes ago. He was a complete sweaty mess. Why? All right, yeah, it's hot and humid here, but he was running full field sprints. He's right next to me, just walked by me right here to the right, running full field sprints, getting his team motivated. He gave me a handshake, Sean, that just about broke my hand, and then he started challenging my manhood. He's asking me, how dare he, if I'm up for this game. Coach, how do you manage the expectation?
Go to work.
It's like a WWE game. He's Hulk Hogan. How dare he mess up my hair? All right, Bulls, here, take it to the field.
South Florida beat Louisville 2 years ago, beat West Virginia last season. They've already defeated Auburn this year. But a win tonight would be the biggest ever for South Florida. We'll have the opening kickoff from Tampa in a moment.
I know West Virginia gets all this hype, but they haven't played South Florida yet.
Losing this game, it's not enough.
And welcome back to Raymond James Stadium. More than 65,000 on hand. The first ever sellout for South Florida in their home stadium, which they share with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of the National Football League. This program basically still in its infancy. They decided to play football in the early 90s, started by hiring Jim Leavitt, still the only head coach they've ever had. Played their first game as a 1AA school and routed Kentucky Wesleyan. After a year in the Conference USA, they moved to the Big East, won their first game against Louisville. Last year, 9-4, won their first bowl game in their second try against East Carolina in the PapaJohns.com Bowl. And now they're ranked, moved into the rankings last week. After a win over North Carolina, they're up to number 18. Louisville, of course, the big surprise from a negative standpoint of the Big East. But a huge game tonight for these two teams. It is the conference opener. But the winner has the inside track toward contention. The loser's going to have to overcome the loss here tonight. We have a presence in the replay booth tonight. With more on that, here's Rob Stone.
Been allowed access into the replay booth. We have and both officials are mic'd up right there. We'll be listening in on their conversations all game long. One of those elements that's so underappreciated, often criticized. It's funny, guys, I had a chance to listen to Charlie and Ed in their pregame meeting, if you will, and they were saying, hey, got to keep our eye out when West Virginia's out on the field. They play fast, and they do a lot of laterals. We got to make sure if they're not in front of the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage, whatever it is, a big game requires big calls.
And Rich Rodriguez has done a tremendous job as head coach. His offense will go on the field first. Jim Leavitt, South Florida Bulls won the toss and elected to defer, so the officials will have to be alert for that West Virginia up-tempo offense to start the game.
Well, yeah, and if I'm West Virginia, I start up-tempo to see. And that also eliminates what we talked about in the open with Ben Moffitt. Ben Moffitt has the ability to put the defense in a good position.
Justin Tichy kicks off for the green-clad Bulls. It comes down to the 6. Noel Devine, the freshman from just down the road in North Fort Myers, faked the handoff and brought it back out across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Sam Miller made the tackle for South Florida. Here's the West Virginia offense introduced by Rich Rodriguez.
For us at the skill position, we're led by the point guard, Pat White. Everybody's All-American, Steve Sladen. Darius Renard in the slot is some of the hardest working receivers in the game. Up front, we got all Big East tackle. Ryan Stanchek at the left tackle, Big Izzy at left guard, and a great group of solid offensive linemen.
Rich Rodriguez says you have to be a point guard to play quarterback in his offense, a point guard who can make the three-point shot. And that's Pat White, who takes the shotgun snap, a low throw, but it's caught on the near side by a freshman, Jock Sanders, one of 4 true freshmen at the skills positions we're likely to see tonight. Nate Allen made the tackle. The defense introduced by Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach John Gruden. And we'll get to that lineup after the play as West Virginia is going quickly behind Pat White, the junior from Daphne, Alabama. The Big East Player of the Year last year in a conference that had Brian Brom, Ray Rice, and Steve Slaton, among others. Brandon Hogan, another true freshman. And he's chopped down to the far sideline after a 4-yard gain. Here is Coach Gruden with help from Joey Galloway.
Coach Leavitt's defense is loaded. The D-line is headed by George Selden. Former offensive lineman, leads the country already with 8.5 sacks. And at linebacker, we have Ben Moffitt. Here's a guy that drives 110 miles a day to work. You know about the secondary.
The secondary is led by 2 of the best corners in the country, Trey Williams and Mike Jenkins. Expect to see these athletes on Sundays next season.
Particularly Mike Jenkins. Wally Burnham, the defensive coordinator, says he definitely has an NFL future. Trey Williams had 7 interceptions last year. They tend to throw in his direction and stay away from Jenkins. On 3rd and 3 after a long count, the run does not work. Steve Slayton buried by Jerome Murphy, who started tonight as they open in a nickel defense.
Well, Jerome Murphy says this is why he should open up a nickel, because I have speed to counter. And he's playing a linebacker position right there. He did a great job of reading Steve Slayton and reading his eyes and shoulders. When Slayton's shoulders squared, Murphy's shoulders squared, knocked him down for a 1-yard gain, forcing the punt.
Pat McAfee to punt. He is a dual threat as their place kicker and punter. Marcus Edwards back deep to receive. Junior from Mayo, Florida, averaging 9 yards per return. Low and wobbly and caught at the 25. And nowhere to run for Edwards. Here's John Gruden with Joey Galloway introducing the South Florida offense.
Starting for the Bulls at quarterback, we have Matt Grothe, last year's Big East Freshman of the Year. He'll get it done tonight.
The offensive line features a blend of youth and experience. Walt Walker, 6'5", 330-pound right tackle, is a veteran and the leader.
This is the biggest game in their history, man. This is going to be a great one tonight.
And John Gruden's been saying that all week. He's made reference to the South Florida Bulls in his press briefings. His Buccaneers are off to a good start as well at 2-1. So it's Matt Grothe, the sophomore from Lakeland, Florida, about 35 miles from their campus here in Tampa. On the run, the freshman Mike Ford. All the way to the 36-yard line of West Virginia. Antonio Lewis saved the touchdown, but it's 35 yards on the first play for the fired-up South Florida Bulls.
Right here, South Florida shows something new. 2 backs, I formation. They're usually a spread team. They come out with the trick 'em, going with the I formation, and you see the vision by Ford, who made a man miss, and he's off to the races. They want to get him the ball because he has great power. They use him. Ben Williams, the lead blocker. Let Big Ford read that I backs and go.
He is big, 6'2", about 230 pounds. Not a real speed burner, but fast enough, as we saw. Now he lowers his head and gets 3 to the 33. Here's Rich Rodriguez introducing his West Virginia defense.
Up front, we're led by the big guy, Keelan Dykes at nose guard, surrounded by Scooter Berry and Johnny Dingle. At linebacker, we have the hardest working man in college football, Mark Magro, surrounded by 2 intelligent players, Reed Williams and Woody Ivey. And in the back end, in our 5-man secondary, we're led by 2 seniors, Eric Wicks and Ryan Mundy at safety.
Ryan Mundy, a transfer from Michigan. He's been a big addition to the defense that struggled, particularly against the pass last year. They're 109th in the country last year against the pass. They come in 33rd this year. Grothe, a good runner. He was both their leading passer and rusher for the season last year. Not much on that play. A hard-earned yard or 2 before he was popped down by Keelan Dykes and Reed Williams. So Grothe, a sophomore. And they'd like to have him run less frequently this year. Last year they did it out of necessity. This year they have more quality running backs.
Yeah, Greg Gregory, the offensive coordinator, is careful when he calls offensive running plays for the quarterback. He likes to see him run when he's scrambling, making something happen off of his feet. Right there was a called run and got stuffed.
A long field goal from here, about a 50-yarder. 3rd down and 5, no score. Just over 4 minutes played. Swing pass to Benjamin Williams. He won't get the first down. He's to the 30, and a decision for Jim Leavitt with 4th and 3 upcoming. Good tackle in space by Quinton Andrews, who was their leading tackler as a freshman a year ago. He's one of 19 West Virginia players from the state of Florida. And the field goal unit comes in. It's Delbert Alvarado, the sophomore from Tampa, who's had a very interesting season. Missed 4 in the second half against Auburn, but still made one with under a minute to go and force overtime, a game they won on a touchdown in overtime. He was 3 for 3 last week against North Carolina, but pulls this one wide left from 47 yards. Is that an early momentum killer? We'll find out after this. Nearly 5 minutes played, no score, and West Virginia on offense for the second time from their own 31-yard line. George Selvey, the nation's leader in sacks, at 8.5, ready to come after Pat White, and it is White who keeps and gets nothing. And this start is reminiscent of the way much of that game went last year up in Morgantown between these two, when West Virginia rushed for only 132 yards. This year they're rushing for 357 per game behind only Navy. But USF strong in rush defense again. Their opponents averaging only 79 yards per game on the ground.
Our offensive line is getting zero push against the green shirts up front.
West Virginia rushed for 132 last year. 171 below their average. The trickery doesn't work either. Darius Reynaud chopped down by Tyrone McKenzie in his first year with the Bulls as a transfer from Iowa State, where he led the Cyclones in tackles last season. Transferred to be closer to home and was granted a hardship waiver by the NCAA so he could play right away for Jim Levitt.
Yeah, Wally Burns said right there, we have to play discipline to handle these guys. Right there's an example of discipline, staying home on the reverse.
So third down and long. This is not the usual set of circumstances for West Virginia. They've averaged over 7 yards per play on first down this year. That pass is incomplete. Broken up by Tyrone McKenzie, intended for Steve Slayton. And a 3-and-out for Pat White and the Mountaineers.
Everybody talks about the great athleticism, and it's true that West Virginia has. Nobody knows, but the nation is seeing tonight the athleticism of South Florida. Man for man, cornerback, at lineman, at linebacker. They're matching speed for speed, strength for strength, with maybe the most powerful run offense in the country. They're beating them at the points.
McAfee to punt again. He's right on his season average of 36 yards per punt with his first boot tonight. Marcus Edwards back at his own 34-yard line. Another low wobbler. It is bobbled by Edwards, and a pile-up. He got it back at the 31-yard line. 38-yard punt. The Bulls on offense for the second time tonight in a scoreless game when we come back.
It's finally here.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Dodge. Live life to the fullest. Dodge. Grab life. The Fruit of the Loom Casual Sportswear Collection. And Universal Pictures' The Kingdom. Now in theaters.
There's Columbia Restaurant, the oldest Spanish restaurant in Florida, founded in 1905. Flamenco dancing, great paella. I know you'd eat it. You eat anything.
If it doesn't move, I'll eat it. Including you if you're sleeping.
Building downtown, lit up in green and gold. Honor of the Bulls. It is South Florida Day. Proclaimed by the mayor of Tampa today in honor of this big game. Amari Jackson the catch. Larry Williams the tackle, 7 yards on first down. And it's amazing how quickly they've done it, Chris. As we've mentioned a couple of times, this is just the 11th season of South Florida football. They're 7th in Division 1A, the highest level of college football. Only Boise State went from 1AA to 1A and got ranked faster than Jim Levitt's Bulls.
Well, it's been a lot of work by that man, Jim Levitt, after working out of a trailer until 2004 when they finally got a facility to help recruit.
There are a lot of great stories about the early days. Grothy after play action pass, a deep ball broken up and almost intercepted. Intended for Amari Jackson. And it was broken up by Quentin Andrews.
Quentin Andrews has to be careful. Matt Grothy makes a poor decision right there. He has 6'5" going up against 5'10". Give your 6'5" guy a chance to play. Andrews does a good job. Almost undercut it a little bit too much, but the reach got it. Right here. Ford does a good job of picking up the blitz, letting Matt do his work back in the pocket. Ride that Ford with the ball and on the blitz pro. Nice job.
Third down and 3, no score, 8.5 to go first half. South Florida from their own 37-yard line. Out of the shotgun. Grothy looked right the whole way. Found a man for first down to midfield. Taurus Johnson made the catch. His team leading 14th of the year. Good for a 13-yard gain.
Here's the composure you see with Matt Grothy. He's got a dual read. He's going to look underneath, and he'll go to his deep. His underneath route's covered. You see Taurus Johnson break it off nice and come back for the football where Grothy threw him open and put him in the hands and let him work and catch the ball with his hands and not his body.
From the 50-yard line. Mike Ford lost the football, and West Virginia has it. Scooter Berry recovered it at the 44-yard line. The last year turnovers hurt West Virginia in their home loss to South Florida. They get the first turnover of this ball game. Ford coughed it up, and Berry recovered, the redshirt freshman out of North Babylon, New York, with the fumble recovery.
Yeah, Morty Ivy gets his hand in there, being the second guy in the tackle, secures the tackle. And you see Morty right there strip the ball with his right arm, and good pursuit by West Virginia to see ball, get ball when it's lying on the ground.
Couple of 3-and-outs for the Mountaineers so far. Their third possession begins in South Florida territory. Ball marked at the 45. White's pass deflected straight up in the air. Then Cairns around and ruled incomplete. Jared Bowie, the defensive end, got his hands on the pass, a senior from Tampa.
You know, Pat White's lucky he didn't catch us, and he's running with his head up. In other words, he's not protected. If somebody saw his head up, you come in and get a clean shot of him, because all of a sudden he becomes the eligible receiver. But a smart play and knocking it down.
Only 7 yards of offense on 7 plays so far for the Mountaineers. White with time throws over the middle and broken up, intended for Darius Reynaud. Jerome Murphy had coverage. Murphy's come on this season, a sophomore. He's out of Elizabeth, New Jersey. Seeing more and more playing time, ordinarily just a nickelback, but they play a lot of nickel, so he's in there a bunch.
Yeah, playing in the nickel, is also playing kind of a linebacker, but anyone who questions Pat White's ability to throw the ball, that was on target over a linebacker and under a safety. Difficult throw to make. Reynaud's got to come down and make a play in a big game.
Neither of these quarterbacks has thrown an interception this year. White, high throw, nice catch by Reynaud. He was a tailback in high school in Louisiana. His great run after the catch ability, but did not get to the first down marker. Got about 7 to the 38-yard line. It'll be 4th down and 3. Jerome Murphy again in on the play with Nate Allen.
Well, the Bulls defense, and it's clear right now, winning 1st and 2nd down, and the West Virginia offense cannot run out of 3rd and long. Now they can run out of 4th and 3.
They're going to go for it on 4th down. And now a timeout called by South Florida. Midway through the first quarter. Already some big plays, and a big play upcoming for West Virginia. West Virginia offense struggling again against South Florida. When we asked the Bulls yesterday, Chris, the keys, they said assignment football.
Yeah, they're playing disciplined defense, assignment football. They're running the ball and they're tackling well. The first guy is making the tackle. West Virginia's not making anybody miss. Got to make a man miss to make a big play.
Coach Rodriguez said there won't be many changes from a year ago. We run our system. We just need to run it better. Going for it out of the South Florida timeout. 4th down and 3. They're 1 out of 3 on 4th down this year. White throws low, short of the first down. It was caught by Reynaud, but he did not get to that yellow line.
And that's not Pat White. Pat White's an All-American quarterback, an All-American candidate quarterback. He's a good enough passer, an accurate enough passer. Give the ball to your receiver so he can do his work. Don't make him drop to his knees, especially short of the sticks. Now, some receivers out there are yelling at you and say, hey, Chris. Or the quarterbacks are saying, hey, Chris, the receiver's got to run past the sticks so you have room for error. See, that's short. At least on our yellow line, it's short.
Yeah, it's short of the yard line as well. Pharrell Jalla was the intended receiver and the receiver, not Reynaud. 21, not 2. And after they looked at the sticks, it goes over on downs to the South Florida Bulls.
But I'll give it that. I'll put that on Pat because he's got to give the guy a catchable ball, not to go down. He catches ball 1 step, 1st down. Now they'll look at the film, and the receivers coach is going to tell the receiver, get your rear ends past the sticks. Will you please? That's what the coach is going to say, not me.
I think you just said it too.
Yeah, well, I meant
it. Exactly midway through the first quarter. South Florida takes over at the 36-yard line. And an 81-degree night. The kickoff High humidity, 84%, and very little wind, just 3 miles per hour. Cedric Hill for 14 yards, and here's Dari Noko with a Sports Center 30 at 30 update.
Guys, we're tracking the playoff races in the National League. In the East, the Mets, of course, blew a 7-game lead in 17 days. They now trail the Marlins 4-3. Florida with a bags juice in the 4th. Meanwhile, the Phillies lead Washington 2-0 in the 5th. Again, that race is tied right now. Meanwhile, the Astros have removed the word interim from Cecil Cooper's title. 57-year-old now the full-time manager as he replaces the fired Bill Garner. Sports Center on after baseball on ESPN.
All right, Jerry, thank you. Grothe on first down, pressured and threw incomplete wide of Benjamin Williams. Grothe had Johnny Dingle in his face.
Not a bad play right there. You see total yards. Pretty well balanced for South Florida, but not a bad play off the I-backs. They showed I-backs 3 times thus far in the game. Run, run, run. We try to hit him with a quick flat pass to Williams, sneaking from his fullback position into the flat.
Grothe elected to keep it and got 3 to the 47 of West Virginia. Looked like somebody might have grabbed him around the face mask. Mark Magro made the tackle, the 5th-year senior from Morgantown.
It's a good job of Magro holding his position and coming down, and pretty good lick on Grothe. But here's what I like about Grothe. See, he gets up. He wants to beat the defender up and get back to his huddle, showing his leadership skills. I'm not down.
Grothe finished last season at about 189 pounds. He's up to 213. Not all of it muscle. He broke his leg in their bowl game. Couldn't participate in a lot of their off-season workouts and packed on some unwanted pounds. Dumps it off. Williams, a juggling catch. Slides through the traffic down to the 30-yard line. Benjamin Williams almost dropped it. It's a 16-yard gain. Charles Pugh made the tackle.
All right, man-to-man defense. You got one rule. Keep your eyes on your receiver. Don't look back at the quarterback. Pugh took his eyes off of Ben Williams. Ben Williams almost dropped the bunny, but he secured the bunny and was able to turn upfield while he was juggling the ball. Coach Levitt said, we got good running backs, maybe better running backs than Ben Williams, but none of them play better than Ben Williams. That's why he's out there.
Yeah, Greg Gregory, the offensive coordinator, said of our stable of running backs, he's the only one who you can count on to do just about everything right. The other guys, many of them are younger and still learning. Grothe couldn't get them aligned properly, and South Florida's burned 2 timeouts. 5:49 to go in the first quarter, and no score. Well, we talked about what's at stake here tonight with regard to the Big East. Obviously, it's the opener, but the winner of this game gets a head start, and both of these teams would seem to factor into the Big East Conference race. We've also talked a lot this year about the top teams. I don't think anybody would argue that USC, LSU, Oklahoma, and Florida belong up there in any particular order. The question mark seems to be about West Virginia, I think, for a couple of reasons. One, we saw the strength of schedule, just 114th out of 119. That's based on who they've played so far, so their strength of schedule will be a lot stronger after tonight and as they go forward. And I think there are a lot of questions about the West Virginia defense. It looks better than a year ago, but they haven't really played anybody yet.
Well, and they're getting their test tonight, and we say this is a statement game for South Florida. Well, this is a statement game for West Virginia. Since the beginning of the year, they've fallen in the ranks without losing. Well, if they can go ahead and do something with South Florida tonight, they might have an argument to reclaim a top 5 spot.
Grothe, the inside handoff. Benjamin Williams put it on the ground again. Boy, it looked like his forward progress was stopped, and he might have even been down. Mountaineers are saying they have it. If they do, it'll be the second lost fumble for South Florida. They do have it. Eric Wicks recovered the fumble.
Reed Williams made the hit right there, discarding the blocker. Schmidt, first hit in, second man ripped that ball out of there. The helmet comes down. It's a great job of West Virginia getting a lot of helmets on the ball, and their second and third tacklers are doing a good job. Charles Pugh coming in, forcing that fumble, doing a good job of knocking the ball out. 2 turnovers. Those are going to come back to kill you, especially field position.
Well, I think the fans wanted a replay review. Then, of course, the replay officials are reviewing everything as it happens, and if they saw anything that looked unusual that might have indicated the call was incorrect, they would have stopped the game. And it did on the replay looked like a fumble. He was not hit down when the ball came out. Now Steve Slayton rips one for 13 in the first down of the game for West Virginia. There's the replay official, Charlie Phillips. Ed Ferranti is the communicator in the booth. And Jay Reed is the replay technician. They are communicating constantly.
I like the call. Retro Rodriguez said, you want to run a little I formation at me? I'm going old school on you. I'm going to throw a little I at you.
Ball. Slayton lost the ball, and South Florida has it back. Tyrone McKenzie popped it out, and Carlton Williams recovered it.
One step and wrap, 2 steps and squeeze. Bring your feet and come with bad intentions. Thank you, Tyrone McKenzie. Watch this hit right here. Steve Slayton. Man, bring your feet. You got to protect the ball. And I'll tell you, both these teams, they haven't been hit like they're getting hit tonight. Tyrone McKenzie, helmet on the football, lift Steve Slayton, protect the ball. Coach Holtz, got 3 points of pressure, buddy. I know you're watching.
When we spoke with Ben Moffitt, the South Florida linebacker, yesterday, he said, there is McKenzie, knocked the ball out. He said, I love playing West Virginia because it is always a smash mouth game. Amari Jackson trying to do some maneuvering. He is ankle tackled by Vaughn Rivers. There is a flag down on the play. Of course, this is only the 3rd meeting between these two schools. Dennis Hennigan, the referee, indicates holding against the Bulls. West Virginia won here 2 years ago, and then South Florida went up in Morgantown last year.
Holding, number 89 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the end of the play. Repeat first down.
I think we've seen you can have a lot of fast athletes on the field of the football game who can also play a very physical brand of football, because we have combination of both on each of these teams tonight.
Yeah, and it's fun to see, and what we're seeing, and Sean, frankly, we haven't seen it in our Friday night package, is good sound tackling. And we're seeing tackling where guys are not only making a hit on first contact, but you have other people coming and doing the proper thing of ripping out the ball. We've had 3 fumbles tonight because the 2nd and 3rd man in coming to rake the ball.
Jamar Taylor in at running back now, a true freshman with excellent speed. He gets the call and gets to the West Virginia 41-yard line. Tackled by Reed Williams, their leading tackler for the year. 12 yards on the run by the freshman from Lakeland, the same hometown as the quarterback Matt Grothe.
Well, that's what we're talking about is Jim Levitt. What's he done? He's recruiting talent after talent. He's listed as 4th on the depth chart. And you see the 14 tailback comes in and rips one off for 10 yards.
All but 10 of the players on this South Florida team are from the state of Florida. One of the reasons why they've been able to be good so quickly. There's just so much talent in this state. Grothe runs about 2 yards short of a first down to the 38-yard line of West Virginia. No score, under 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Scooter Berry made the tackle. You know, for a lot of people, South Florida seemed like a strange fit when the Big East was realigning after the defections from the Big East to the ACC. But Mike Tranghese, the commissioner, believed in the potential of this program, thought they had a great coach. It was a great market. He said, just look at how many tremendous football players there are in this state. The big 3, Miami, Florida State, and Florida now might be the big 4 with South Florida a part of that conversation. Yeah. 2 losing seasons in their first 10, and they pick up the first down. Jamar Taylor still fighting for yardage. And a flag thrown away from the tackle as there was some pushing and shoving along the near hash marks.
2 points. I put South Florida at the big 2 out of the big 4 in the state of Florida. And second right now, South Florida's taking the line of scrimmage, and they're handling West Virginia up front. Now West Virginia's doing a good job tackling. This is simple power rope play. When you have a pulling guard, just follow the pulling guard right through the hole.
So they got a free slap fight. Marcus Edwards and Vaughn Rivers.
The mad scientist right there. I love it.
I think he gave Rob Stone's hairdo the buff, but he just wanted someone else to have a spiky hairdo. Jim Levitt pulls it off at age 50. Grew up in this area in St. Petersburg. One of the truly interesting characters in college football coaching. Grothy, a pump fake, and now a deep ball up for grabs and intercepted. Ellis Langster with the third turnover taken away by the West Virginia defense here in the first quarter. Langster just recently activated after being suspended 2 weeks prior to the season opener for an off-the-field incident with the first big play of his collegiate career. He's a junior from Whistler, Alabama, junior college transfer.
Well, as Langster did a great job from his safety position in there in a nickel person, getting his depth. And Matt Grothy, I'll give him one word advice, about 3 words advice. If you're long, you're never wrong. Again, you got 6'5". Throw it up there for your 6'5" guy to win the jump ball.
His first interception that he's thrown this year in 78 passes this season. Steve Slayton, the ball carrier. Richard Kleebert and George Selby on the tackle. Langster and J.T. Thomas, a backup linebacker, both had the chance to be starters when the season began, but they were arrested, charged with being involved in the theft of a laptop, only recently reinstated by Coach Rodriguez. Rich said he didn't know how much or if at all either one of them would play tonight. Langster's playing, and he made a big play. Noel Devine, the freshman, tackled by Nate Allen. It goes to the 28-yard line. Here's Rob Stone.
Sean, major juxtaposition on the 2 sidelines, and it seems to mirror the 2 head coaches and their emotions. Quiet, calm, confidence on West Virginia. No concern at all in their body language. On USF, well, you saw what Coach Levitt did to me pregame. Frantic energy from the coaches, the players, even the student managers are into it on the South Florida sideline.
Well, they have statistically dominated in terms of total yardage, 116 to 35, but the turnovers have been killers. White, he turns it over, intercepted, and it'll be a touchdown. Ben Moffitt.
There's your senior. The guy that's been here since the inception of the program, it seems like. Ben Moffitt making a play when a play needs to be made.
So neither quarterback had thrown an interception all year. They've each thrown one here in the first quarter. Moffitt brings it back 26 yards. The extra point good by Alvarado.
It starts with pressure defense right here. See Bowie come in, disrupt the throw. Ben Moffitt just kind of playing a little bit of spy technique. Thank you for the gift.
5 turnovers combined in the first quarter. 2 by West Virginia. Fumble lost, and now the interception thrown by White. Jared Bowie put the pressure on him. Moffitt, the 5th-year senior, 4-year starter, had his first career interception last week against North Carolina. Now he has another. He's the young man who's married since he was 17 years old. He's 22 now. He has 2 young children. Commutes 55 miles each way every day from his home in Bushnell, Florida, north of Tampa, so that his wife can raise their children in their hometown and she can work at the county property appraiser's office. Takes him easily an hour, some days longer depending on traffic. His freshman year they lived here in Tampa, but they missed home. It was easier for his wife to work if she was back in Bushnell. So he has been a regular commuter, sometimes leaving home at 3:30 in the morning to get to campus on time for football, business, or classes. Von Rivers returns the bouncing kickoff out to the 39-yard line. Saturday night on ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, 8 Eastern Time. 3 teams with their sights on playing for the national championship on ABC. Number 1, USC takes on Washington. On ESPN, number 3, Florida looks to avenge its only loss of last season when they welcome Auburn to the Swamp. And on ESPN2, 8 Eastern Time for all of these. Number 8, Ohio State at Minnesota. Great weekend of college football. And it's starting with this matchup tonight. On first down, Slayton couldn't get free from the tackle. Did get 3 before Ben Moffitt got him on the ground.
West Virginia is not far away, though. They do have the ability, and this is what Wally Burnham was concerned about. Yeah, you stop him, you stop him, you stop him. But if you give them one little crease, they have the distance to go all the way. And right there, Moffitt made a great play, or that play was going for a long time.
19 yards on 5 carries for Slayton. He was held to a season-low 43 by the Bulls last year in Morgantown. Owen Schmidt, the fullback, sometimes a tight end this year, has the first down off the pass from White. Carlton Williams tackled him around the legs at the 49-yard line of the Bulls, a gain of 9.
Yeah, don't let Owen Schmidt deceive you. Excellent hands for a man his size and great speed. Has a long rush of 46 yards this year, and nobody got him from behind. 260.
Nine broken face masks in his career. White decided to keep it, and he paid the price. Got 7, but got walloped by Louis Gachette, backup defensive back junior from Immokalee, Florida. Was a left-handed quarterback like Pat White in high school. That will likely be the last play of the first quarter. And everybody need a chance to catch their breath. Fans have been into it from well before the start. And it hasn't always been pretty, but it was entertaining. The first quarter highlighted by 5 turnovers and only 1 score.
The chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup is on ABC, Sunday at 1 Eastern.
Let's turn it up a notch. Let's turn it up a notch. Pressure's on. Let's turn it up a notch. Let's turn it up a notch.
Defenses dominated the first quarter. The only touchdown scored on defense by South Florida. Ben Moffitt, a 26-yard interception return. Neither quarterback had thrown an interception this season. Each threw 1 in the first quarter. There were 5 turnovers combined, 3 committed by South Florida. But West Virginia has not capitalized yet. They have it. Second down and 2 to open the second quarter. Tyrone McKenzie walloped Pat White.
Tyrone McKenzie's all over the field tonight. Now Murphy comes into him and plays the nickel back and plays the linebacker position. But I'll tell you again, one of the things that I'm impressed with most is the ability of South Florida to tackle on the open field. When you're tackling great athletes and guys that can run like Pat White and Steve Slayton in the open field, and they're not making you miss, that tells me one thing: you can run, you're a good football player, and you're focused to play tonight and making plays when they count. First down, Mountaineers.
First and 10, West Virginia, ball on the 39-yard line.
Rich Rodriguez signaling in the plays for West Virginia. First down from the 39-yard line. Owen Schmidt threw a big hole, and he gets 8.
See, when you play a disciplined defense, a guy like Owen Schmidt has a chance to hurt you a little bit. Why? Because they have Slayton and White. They got to be contained. So all of a sudden you try to quick little dive with Schmidt. That's nice.
And second down, the dive. The ball out. Bulls say they have it, and they do. George recovered the fumble.
Again, they're going to come back. First of all, it's a bad snap. Bad snap, and you don't have a good exchange between Slayton and Pat White. Pat hit that ball a little bit high, never got control of it. It all starts with the fundamentals of the snap. The bad snap disrupted the timing. Thus, you have a turnover because the timing was disrupted from the get-go.
Well, this is uncharacteristic of both of these teams. Both plus for the year in turnover margin coming in. They still are because they're both even tonight. Grothy keeps and gets 5 on first down from the 29-yard line. Doug Slavonic, who's into the ball game as a backup defensive tackle, and Brian Mundy made the tackle.
Number 91.
Let's see if South Florida's offense is able to start capitalizing on some of these West Virginia turnovers. Their defense capitalized on the turnover, yet the offense, for that fact, West Virginia hasn't capitalized on South Florida's turnovers.
13.5 to go till halftime. Grothy the pump fake. And now Jamar Taylor trying to weave through the traffic, but could not. He got a yard. Johnny Holmes made the tackle. Backup linebacker. One of the 19 Floridians on this West Virginia team. He's from Rockledge, Florida.
Third down and 3.
Be third down and 3. So they announced over the PA system it's going to be longer than that. Nearly 4 for the first down. Here it's sold out Raymond James Stadium. 65,000 plus first sellout. The 11-year history of South Florida football. And a flinch at the right guard position. Zach Herman. Redshirt freshman just across the bay in Oldsmar, Florida, out of Eastlake High School.
This is where Matt Grothy could be most dangerous. Now 3rd and 9. Obviously, you take a little bit of him away. 3rd and 2 is the ideal position for any running quarterback. Keep your eye on the big 6'5" Amari Jackson. Oh, right there he is.
Grothy given a lot of time, and the pass is dropped by Amari Jackson. And that's been a problem this year for South Florida, drop balls. Grothy's been victimized by them.
He's Grothy's target tonight. Plus he's 6'5", just make a play. His head went to look to see if the hit was coming. Secure the ball first. Don't get them T-Rex arms.
Amari Jackson is the first cousin of Mike Ford, the running back for South Florida. Jackson actually played 2 years of basketball in community college here in Tampa at Hillsborough. Delbert Alvarado, a nice punt. Vaughn Rivers brings it back to the 31-yard line. 51-yard punt, 13-yard return. 7-0 Bulls in the second quarter.
They pick up touchdowns. Pick up the
offense for this game. You win.
7-0 South Florida. Already 6 turnovers. One of them a fumble by Benjamin Williams. It looked to be a close ball. Let's listen in with Charlie Phillips and Ed Ferranti in the replay booth as they review the Williams fumble.
What did they say?
They're digging. They didn't say anything yet. First down, West Virginia.
Yep, first down. If you get a replay, let me see it. Sure. I'm sure he was not down.
Replay.
Let me see it. I think it might be a good call. Yeah, he's never down. That's a good call. Okay.
Fumble.
And that's a live shot now in the replay booth. That's how the process is supposed to work. Charlie Phillips never did stop the game because he was able to verify the accurate call on the field without a stoppage. And Schmidt dropped for a loss by the swarming Bulls defense. Bruce Montpremier made the tackle. Loss of 5 on the play. This is a West Virginia offense that is used to rolling it up, 9th in the country in scoring, coming in at 47 points per game. That's what they've done with their last 4 possessions.
They have to be able to throw the ball down the field a little bit. When you got your safety sitting at 8 yards, you need to find a way to loosen them up somehow, some way.
4-man rush. Incomplete pass intended for Jock Sanders. On Premier head coverage. White coming off a performance last week against East Carolina when he completed 18 out of 20 for 181 yards. And you can see the frustration already building on the head coach, Rich Rodriguez.
And you can see what the situation. This is where South Florida's been putting them 3rd and 10 plus all night long.
4-man rush again on 3rd and long, and the pass incomplete. Terrell Jalla couldn't hang on as Nate Allen was there to deliver a hit. And you get the sense that the physical nature of this game is starting to mentally affect the receivers.
Well, it seems like it when you have drop balls on both sides. Right there, that's all Pat White can do. And he shows that he can throw the ball down the field, but his receivers got to help him and make a play. But going forward, that's what West Virginia has to do on 1st and 2nd down, Sean. In this day and age of football, you have to throw to run. Not run to throw to run.
McAfee to punt. They came after him. He got it off. Marcus Edwards had to retreat to his own 33. Turns the corner. And went out of bounds. They'll mark him out back at the 43. A 10-yard return of a 42-yard punt. Owen Schmidt, the starting fullback on punt coverage, made the tackle. It's the 3rd race in the chase for the NASCAR Next Cup. Who can break away from the crowd with Gordon, Johnson, and Stewart leading the way. Time to separate the contenders from the pretenders. Catch all the championship drama at Kansas. The NASCAR Busch Series at Kansas, presented by Principal Financial, Saturday afternoon on ESPN 2, 3 Eastern, and the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series at Kansas on ABC Sunday at 1 Eastern Time. Grothe handed it off to Jamar Taylor. He's dropped for a loss. Back to the 40. 3 yards on the loss. Johnny Dingle made the tackle, lost his helmet in the process.
This is the variety that South Florida has on offense. This time they come into the ball game with 12 personnel. We saw all kind of different formations, personnel groups. 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends, just to give the different looks to try to confuse the Mountaineer defense.
Fumbles a problem the last couple of weeks for South Florida. They fumbled 4 times last week against North Carolina, lost 3 of them, or they would have routed the Tar Heels even more than they did. They won 37-10 against Butch Davis's club. 5-yard completion to Amari Jackson. Morty Ivy and Quentin Andrews on the stop.
3rd down and 8.
You know, Amari almost point about the defensive backs coming up right at tatting people. You got to make sure you secure that football. You're going to get hit anyway.
Those cousins are very close. They grew up raised by their grandmother, Helen Jackson, in large part. And Mike Ford has a daughter named Zamari in honor of his cousin Amari. Grothe, how did he get away? Now he has man wide open. It is caught. Carlton Mitchell, touchdown. Yards. It looked like the Mountaineers defenders thought Grothe was down because they had several wide open receivers. Did Mitchell stay in bounds? It looked like he did.
Looked like he did from that angle. Charles Pugh has a chance to make a play. Ducks his head, goes to his knees. You're not going to get down a competitor like Matt Grothe. Gets his eyes back down the field. Finds Carlton wide and wide open. Ooh, big close. Carlton walked the tightrope.
And they have stopped it for replay review. Let's listen in to Charlie Phillips and Ed Ferranti.
Yeah, he had him in bounds okay, right? The field judge.
Here's another angle. What, B, C? Opposite. It's not playing yet.
Can you hear me okay, Denny? Yeah.
I got nothing
yet.
Can you hear me? This angle.
So you have a play? Nothing. Yeah, can you hear me? Go ahead and send B.
Want B?
Send B, yeah. It was really close to being out of bounds, Denny. That's the only reason I'm stopping it. C is opposite end zone. I don't know if it's going to help you, though. Well, you certainly can't tell from up there. So, do they have to send all the replays? Do we?
There's another C here. There's another one here.
That's all the guys got. That's all we got. That's all you got.
Yep. This one here.
Denny, the play stands as called on the field. The touchdown counts, yes.
We thank the Big East.
Next review, the play stands is called on the field. Touchdown.
Obviously, for our viewers and football fans around the country, really a fascinating look at how the process works. You could tell Charlie Phillips had questions about whether or not Mitchell stepped out of bounds, but there wasn't conclusive evidence based on the replay. So the play stands is called, and Levitt and the Bulls lead 13-0. With Delbert Alvarado to attempt the extra point.
And does a good job of securing the football. Walked the tightrope.
So I think he was in. That was close, but I thought that was the best angle, and we never definitively did see him step on any part of that white sign.
Nonetheless, touchdown, and that's no goal.
Carlton Mitchell, the first offensive touchdown of this game for the redshirt freshman from Lukes, Florida, from an athletic family. His dad, Carl, played pro basketball in Europe for 12 years, and his mother is a pioneer in boxing. Angela, an anesthesiologist, is the cut woman for the former light heavyweight champion of the world, Antonio Tarver. Mrs. Mitchell once dated Antonio Tarver, stayed in his corner as a member of the ring crew, as the cut woman. As far as we know, the only woman serving in that role. Noelle Devine cut down back at the 14-yard line. Trey Williams made the tackle, just an 11-yard return. And Carlton and some of his teammates were wide open.
Yeah, there are two reasons why, Sean. First of all, Charles Pugh has a chance to make a play. He doesn't make the play right there. Right there, you see the West Virginia defenders. As soon as Grothy breaks that tackle, everybody starts running toward the line of scrimmage, vacating the middle deep part of the field. Hold your coverage.
You want to use any boxing analogies? They have him on the ropes. Deliver an early staggering blow to West Virginia. Steve Slayton delivers a stiff arm as he goes out of bounds at the 19-yard line. A run of 6. Ryan Gilliam, a backup cornerback, made the tackle. Well, if you're West Virginia, you have to be worried, because this is what happened last year, and they never did recover against South Florida, never did find a way to get the running game on track.
That's it. They got to up their speed, Sean. They're playing down a gear. South Florida's playing in fourth. West Virginia staying in third.
Swung out to the far side to Brandon Hogan, true freshman, who was a high school quarterback in this same kind of spread offense that West Virginia runs, so he's learned the system quickly as a wide receiver. 6-yard gain and a first down to the 25.
Then you come out, throw the ball. You want to try to loosen up those running lanes, start airing it out, let it fly.
Well, the crowd's been deafening from the start. A low snap fielded by Owen Schmidt, but it's a loss. That rolled to the fullback Schmidt. I wonder if they were trying to snap it to him directly. Whoever it was intended for, yeah, it was intended for Schmidt at an angle, and it was low.
Yeah, and you can't leave George Selby on block, who, no matter who you direct snap it to, either Schmidt or White, you can't leave number 95 untouched.
Mike Dent, the center, first-year starter, has done a nice job taking over for Dan Moses, who won the Remington Trophy as the best center in the country last year. Right after a couple of fakes, tackled by Ben Moffitt. Gain back to the 24-yard line. Here's Rob Stone.
Well, Sean, we were talking earlier about how kind of calm the West Virginia sideline was after that Pat White interception a few series ago. Came off the field very nonchalant, didn't bother him. Well, after that last USF touchdown, things changed. Coach Rodriguez off his feet, coming to the sidelines, coming to the bench to talk to his players. Almost a sense of, dare I say, a little worry. Not fear, but a little worry from the West Virginia sideline. They are in a game.
Yeah, reason to be worried. They lost to this bunch last year, and it's looking a lot like last year's game. Can't get the running game going. South Florida has controlled the play to this point in this one. Short pass, work to be done, and it's done by Slayton. First down. And realizing they're struggling to run, they're putting the ball in the air with greater regularity than they usually do. This time for a 13-yard gain. There are the numbers from last year. West Virginia rushed for only 132. That was 171 below their average. Turned it over 4 times. Selvey ran one of those in. George Selvey recovered a fumble. Brought it 9 yards for a touchdown.
They're on pace to fall short of those numbers.
24-19 was the final. South Florida beat then number 7 West Virginia last year in Morgantown. Darius Reynaud collared by Nate Allen. And it's almost the moment like, all right, we can't run. We're going to start winging it around.
Yeah, and what they're doing, though, they're still doing the outside passing, which essentially is just a toss sweep, and they're trying to get their athletes one-on-one. With the Florida skilled positions, the South Florida skilled position players on defense, and the skilled position players on the Bull defense are winning those individual matchups, making open field tackles.
Gain of 7 on the completion to Reynaud. Now White to Reynaud again. And they finally got him down at the 30-yard line. Beautifully executed by Pat White. Looked like a run. At the last moment, he found Reynaud, who was tackled by Louis Gachette, but it's a gain of 26.
Yeah, it's the quadruple option. I never heard of it. I just saw it. Fake dive, run to pitch or run. Yet, Reynaud sneaks out there for the screen pass and get the ball into your playmaker's hand. Take a look at this option. He can hand it. He can keep it. He can pitch it. Oh, quadruple. I can throw it.
Well, Rich Rodriguez described as like being a point guard. There's a fumble recovered by Nate Allen. White and Slayton, and it's White who chops him down at the 26-yard line. 44-yard return. Brandon Hogan lost the fumble. The 4th turnover of the night committed by West Virginia.
Yeah. Welcome to Big East. And welcome to a team that's on a mission. When they're hitting like they're hitting, you need to protect the football right here. Brandon Hogan, I'm going to put you in space. Do some work. But Murphy comes in, head on the football. Nate Allen in pursuit of the ball. Picks it up, and it's off. Great job of scooping and trying to score. Pat White does a good job of running her down.
Well, West Virginia might need Carlton Mitchell's mother, Angela, right now. They might need a cut person because they are bloodied. And they bounce off the ropes with an interception by Ryan Mundy. Each team has turned it over 4 times.
And he's not throwing, Sean. Every long ball over 15 yards has been short. And each short one has been picked. Right there, he's throwing off of his back foot. He doesn't have to throw off of his back foot. He's got time. There's no pressure. Step into that throw. Let's not do fadeaways. Mundy does a good job. Wicks does a good job of tip drill. He could have been the star, but he says, go ahead, Mundy. Here's the assist. Tip drill. Coach Raft would be proud of that.
Well, maybe that's the explanation for all the strange things happening here tonight. A full moon over Tampa. First interception as a Mountaineer by Ryan Mundy in his first year here. Graduated from Michigan, where he had 3 interceptions and 18 career starts. Pat White, the ball carrier to the 25. Wow, that is an amazing stat. 8 turnovers already and still 6 minutes to go in the first half.
West Virginia will keep their composure, and Rich Rodriguez will stay with his system. And don't forget, they have the ability to run this system at 3 different speeds.
Steve Slayton, first down. He got walloped to the ground from behind by Woody George. Well, obviously they have excellent athletes on defense. They also have an excellent plan choreographed by Wally Burnham, the defensive coordinator, longtime college coach, 65 years old. There's Wally. He said the problem against West Virginia, you can play great defense all night, but they can hit with a couple of big plays and it ruins everything. So far they've been able to avoid the costly big play against his defense. George Selby took down Pat White right at the line of scrimmage.
It's all about being disciplined right there. George Selby playing the defensive end. Didn't go for the handoff on Schmidt. Stayed in his position. Took care of his responsibility on the option and tackled Pat White.
Wally Burnham played at Alabama for Bear Bryant back in the early 60s. White again ran into Alan Cray.
When you're watching this South Florida defense, the one thing I preach all the time about getting off blocks, don't put Velcro on your jerseys and get stuck. They're defeating and winning each individual battle amongst the front 7. They're winning. And West Virginia has yet to counter. You got to dig deep if you're a Mountaineer and finish your man if you're blocking.
This city has taken up the cause of University of South Florida football, and they've done their part tonight. First ever sellout for the Bulls at home. White throws it up, and it is caught. Burrell Jalla the catch to the 40-yard line of South Florida. 28 yards on 3rd down and long, and the Mountaineers get a huge play.
What a nice job of Pat White resisting the urge to run. Because he had room, he would have outran the pursuit. Good job of Jalla coming back for the football and securing the catch, and White throwing it open.
Jalla better known for his blocking. Bruce Mom Premier made the tackle on Steve Slayton. Slayton has to be getting frustrated now. Or they're going to bring him out of the game. Noel Devine comes in. Just 36 yards rushing for Slayton on 9 carries. Devine took the inside handoff. Flipped across Greg Isdaner, one of his offensive linemen. Gain to the 36-yard line.
You know, you're trying to run these zone read plays where the running backs have options. The problem is they're taking too long to develop. If they want to have any success, they got to start hitting the quick hitters. Their best run of the night was Owen Schmidt on a straight dive.
Another 3rd down here, 3rd and 6 for West Virginia. Under 3 minutes to go in the first half. South Florida leads 14-0. White steps up and is tackled well short of the first down by George Selby. The nation's leader in sacks and tackles for a loss. Entering tonight's game, and he's put up those numbers in only 3 games, where a lot of teams around the country have played more than 3.
Right here, he's relentless in his pursuit. Right there, he tries the power rush, but he doesn't quick. A great change of direction, and you see his greatest asset is his burst and his speed to close down on a great runner in Pat White.
Didn't add to those stats there because it was a gain of 1 for White. Looks like the Mountaineers are going to go for it. Looks like they'll also let the clock run down and then call a timeout. And they do with 1 second on the play clock, 2:04 to go in the half. A timeout for Rich Rodriguez. The Mountaineers will talk about what they want to do on this big 4th down and 5 when we come back to Raymond James Stadium in Tampa.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Volkswagen. When you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you. And ESPN Game Plan. See the most college football every Saturday. To order, call your pay-per-view provider.
Back at Raymond James Stadium. 4th down and 5, and West Virginia's going to go for it, trailing 14-0 with 2:04 left in the half.
With George Selby inside right here. He's going to try to make a play and get the matchup with his speed.
5 receivers spread the formation. White under duress is going to try to run for it, and he gets it and much more. Inside the 20 and taken down at the 17-yard line by Jerome Murphy. 18 yards, almost entirely on his own by Pat White, the Heisman Trophy candidate from Daphne, Alabama, who gets up limping.
You see Selby, he's going to come all the way around on a stunt. Pat White feels him on the pressure, and he's going to trust his legs and does a great job of running to the open area and to the open field. But he is limping. It looks to me like it's an ankle, the way he fell on it and got tackled. Slayton is over there helping his buddy out. Watch Pat White and see if you can see how he falls. Yeah, it looked like his ankle, the top of his toe kind of turned his ankle, got stuck in the turf.
And White is now down on the turf. He played with a foot injury last year against South Florida. Didn't use that to his credit as an excuse for the loss, although he rushed for only 17 yards in that game on 15 carries. Tonight, he and Steve Slayton now have identical rushing stats, each with 9 carries for 36 yards, right on 4 yards per carry, below the average for each. This is a West Virginia team that has averaged 6.7 yards per rush for the year.
Right there.
Took a hit on the thigh there.
Murphy got him, put his face mask. Good shot. And let it be known that Rich Rodriguez has complete confidence in his backup, Jarrett Brown. Now, you don't want to lose a Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback in Pat White, but Jarrett Brown is very efficient at running this offense of Rich Rodriguez.
One of the 19 Floridians on this West Virginia team is Jarrett Brown. And he'll come into a big spot here. We're at the 10th play of this drive upcoming for West Virginia. 1:49 left in the half. 2 timeouts left for the Mountaineers, 1 for the Bulls. 1st and 10 from the South Florida 17.
And vital they come away with something away, Sean, with some points.
Brown, it's a good move on your first play. Give it to Steve Slayton, the leading active rusher in the country in terms of career yards per game. Ben Moffitt made the tackle. Down to the 9-yard line, 8-yard gain.
Gave to Steve Slayton with a lead blocker and Owen Schmidt to try to get something going inside. Pretty good to follow 260 in there.
Schmidt up the middle appears to have the first down. Let's get more on Pat White from Rob Stone.
Guys, I just spoke with Dave Kearns, the head trainer for West Virginia. He came over to me and says it is a bruised thigh. I asked him, what can you do to make it better in the locker room? One word repeated about 4 times. Stretch, 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 stretch.
Those hurt. We'll find a way to get it done if you can.
Brown started last year against Rutgers and led West Virginia to a memorable triple overtime win. Inside handoff to Slayton. Now they have to keep an eye on the clock. He's down to the 3, but the clock is 40 seconds and running.
2 timeouts left.
Down and goal. And a timeout called by West Virginia. That'll leave each team with 1. Let's get a preview of what's coming up at halftime. Here's Dari Noko.
All right, guys, it is the Olive Garden halftime report coming up in just a couple of minutes. We'll try to figure out what's wrong with West Virginia, and we'll discuss what needs to happen for them to make a second-half comeback. Also, Mark and Lou will pick the 2 big games out of the Pac-10 tomorrow. A little bit of update from the National League pennant races. The Mets are a mess and about to be out of first. It's all coming up in just a few, guys.
All right, Dari, a mess kind of describes the way much of this half has gone for West Virginia. But you have to think, Chris, the way this half has gone, that Rich Rodriguez would feel pretty good to be only down by 7 points because his team has played poorly.
Yeah, and just turning the ball over. They have to come away with something here, or this game could slip away. I don't care how powerful you are. The way the South Florida defense is playing tonight, they need some points right here, preferably if you're a West Virginia fan, in the zone.
Second down and goal now from the 4-yard line. Jared Brown, the sophomore, still at quarterback. Owen Schmidt up the middle. He's down to the 2. George Selby made the tackle. And they'll use their last timeout quickly with 27 seconds left.
Another thing, if I'm West Virginia, when I'm going there, I got to change my cadence because South Florida's getting off on the ball. They're jumping the couch, Sean. They're killing them.
West Virginia ranked number 5 in the polls this week. The numbers solid. 10th in total offense, 2nd in scoring offense, 2nd in rushing, 15th in total defense. That had been the question mark. Defense has actually played very well tonight. It is that vaunted offense that has not lived up to the challenge. And again, there's a lot going on here tonight, but one of the questions is, does West Virginia belong in the same conversation with that top 4? I would say, based on what we've seen so far tonight, no.
No, not yet. Now we have a whole half to play, and this is a very difficult place to play against a pretty darn good football team. I'll tell you, this South Florida defense is much better than I thought. It's much better than it looked on film, to be quite honest with you. They're ready to play, and their athleticism is really what's sticking out to me tonight on the defensive side of the ball.
And Ben Moffitt said, we believe as a defense we can match their speed with our speed, and they have matched up very well with this very fast West Virginia offense. Looking at a 3rd and goal from the 2 now. Schmidt and Slayton on either side of Brown. The snap goes through his hands. He falls on it, back at the 19. Bear in mind, they don't have any timeouts left, and this is 4th down, so they will hurry the field goal team on. It doesn't need to be a total fire drill. They have time. Mike Dent's snap not handled by Brown. And now a timeout called by South Florida. They wanted to make sure they had enough folks on the field.
Well, that's the 3rd bad snap, Sean, by West Virginia tonight. And again, when you're in a pressure game, you got to perform the fundamentals like they're automatic. No excuse for having 3 bad snaps when that's all you do is run out of the shotgun. Airmail. Give them something to work with. They had Owen Schmidt running in the flat of the end zone wide open on the crossbuck action. They blew a chance for a touchdown.
Rich Rodriguez trying to get the field goal unit out there. Wasn't happy when Ryan Stanchek was a little bit slow to get out there. They were lined up and ready to go. It was South Florida that wasn't set, so they burned their last time out. Meanwhile, White trying to walk off the sore thigh, in which he took a helmet a moment ago that caused him to leave the game. And even if he makes this, that's a win for South Florida. They're going to be 2 scores up no matter what, even if McAfee makes this 37-yarder. And he does, right down the middle for the veteran, junior from Plum, Pennsylvania, who doubles both the punting and place kicking. As a matter of fact, Rich Rodriguez was a little worried a couple of weeks ago that McAfee was getting leg weary, so he said we put him on a pitch count like Major League Baseball pitchers, where we monitor his number of reps in practice so his leg doesn't get fatigued. 14-3, South Florida, 3 seconds to go till the half. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Rob Stone, our producer Josh Hoffman, our director Jeff Evers, our outstanding ESPN crew. Delighted to have you with us for Friday night college football primetime. South Florida, and what has been billed the biggest game in the history of their program, and they played in some big ones before. They have the upper hand, 14-3 over West Virginia in the final seconds of the half. 3 seconds to go. We'll see what McAfee does with this kickoff. It's a squib. Benjamin Williams brings it back to the 47. And we have reached the half, a memorable first half, featuring 8 turnovers. Jim Leavitt's defense dominating the proceedings.
It's clear to me tonight that West Virginia didn't come ready to play. They got to get it together at halftime to come out and make this a game.
At the half, South Florida 14, West Virginia 3, and it doesn't look good for Pat White. Always looking good. Dari Noka in the Olive Garden halftime report.
Ah, you're too kind. Welcome into the Olive Garden halftime report. I am Dari Noka along with Mark May and the coach Lou Holtz. And wow, 14-3, 8 turnovers in the game. It has been disgustingly ugly, especially for West Virginia. How come, Mark?
Well, because they're poor play on offense. Not only the injury to quarterback Pat White. Jarrett Brown is a capable backup, but there is a reason why Pat White is a Heisman Trophy candidate, because he can get the job done. The injury to his lower leg is going to hurt West Virginia. For them, they need him to come back in the second half. But a bigger concern for this football team, the 4 turnovers in the first half. And not only that, the poor play on the offense. They need to throw the ball vertically down the field to play and establish a better running game. And not only that, how about the mistakes just before halftime? The high snap over the quarterback Jarrett Brown's head cost him an opportunity for a touchdown, so they've got to get it turned around. But, Coach, there's a brighter light at this. Remember against Marshall, it took them 3 quarters to take the lead against Marshall.
Yeah, but this is different. This is different. Some people say, boy, it's not a good game. I think it's a beautiful game because it's a fundamental physical football game played by USF. They are controlling the line of scrimmage. They're getting penetration and disrupting them. You say the bad snap. That's because the center's got to try to reach a guy who's getting penetration. University of South Florida is just winning the battle up front. They're staying squared, they're tackling hard, and they're controlling the line of scrimmage. You see the good football position they're in. On the other hand, when South Florida goes ready to throw the football, they have protection. Here you see that there's always somebody at Pat White's feet. That time he was on his arm, creates the interception. On the other hand, when you look at South Florida, Matt Grothe, he's staying there. He's got all kind of time. It goes back to fundamentals, and USF is winning the battle up front, which I did not think would happen. I congratulate him. It's only a half.
The bottom line, Coach, no flipping out there, because this is going to be an exciting ending to this.
This is great football. I want to tell you, you talk about the ball on the ground more than a soccer match, but you talk about hard-hitting, physical football. That's great.
You think Coach Rod might say something at halftime to get these boys a little bit fired up. Let's show you how bad it's been for West Virginia in the first half. Take a look at what they average, 47 points per game. They're on pace for 6. Over 300 rushing yards. They're on pace for 162. You get the picture looking at the numbers. They've already turned it over more times than they average in the first 4 games. And that is why they are down 14-3. Lots more coming when the Olive Garden halftime report continues. We play a little pick-em, Pac-10 style. Cal and Oregon battle to keep title hopes alive while SC tries to avoid a Husky upset up in the Great Northwest. It's all coming up. Injury he sustained against the Phillies. All right, 14-3, USF leading West Virginia in the biggest game in that program's history. What do we need to see or expect to see in the second half of this ballgame?
Well, every championship team is going to find themselves same position as Florida, or as what West Virginia is right now. If you're going to be a great football team, you're going to come back out the second half like they did against Marshall. If not, they ain't going to be winning.
You're right. I think head coach Rich Rodriguez will get the troops settled down at halftime. And not only that, I think they'll attack the South Florida defense north and south with the running and passing game, not east and west. They're trying to encompass the defense with everything to the outside, and there's just too much speed on the South Florida defense.
South Florida looks awfully good, and West Virginia looks terrible. 8 turnovers, 4 apiece in the first half. Second half is coming up. Mark, Lou, Dari. It's been the Olive Garden halftime report. South Florida up 14-3. Big touchdown pass from Matt Grothe. Second half coming up next with Sean and Chris from Tampa.
This halftime report brought to you by Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family.
This is what I know. We are undefeated. We are undefeated. We are ranked 18th in the nation. We are ranked 5th in the nation.
I know the South Florida is a very hot team right now.
I know West Virginia gets all this hype, but they haven't played South Florida yet.
Losing this game, it's not enough.
And I know that today is Green and Gold Day in the city of Tampa, proclaimed such by the mayor. Some of the lights of downtown resplendent in green and gold. And the green and gold, Chris Spielman acquitted themselves very nicely on the field in the first half. Each team severely turnover plagued. There were 4 turnovers by each team, and one led directly to a touchdown. The first score of the game, Ben Moffitt returning the Pat White interception, 26 yards for a touchdown. So both teams, as we look toward the second half, want to be much more careful with the ball. What about West Virginia? What can they do to get it going?
Well, we didn't get a chance to speak with Rich Rodriguez coming in or going out at halftime. But I'm going to tell you what Rich said. I would have said, I hold up these stats. These mean nothing. They mean nothing because right now West Virginia isn't playing like something's on the line. They don't have a chip on their shoulder. They're not playing with any desperation or a sense of urgency. That's what Rich Rodriguez, if he didn't tell his team that, he should have. And I expect to see a different West Virginia. I'm getting all jacked up now.
Yeah, you are.
West Virginia team come out here with places of energy and excitement. Let's go. The Big East is on the line. It's a playoff.
You're not going to tackle me, are you? Getting a little nervous. You're going to put me through the wall here. Our very fancy ESPN college football backdrop. Pat McAfee kicks off. Jerome Murphy from the 5. All the way across the field, and he took a shot at the 27-yard line. Tackled by Sidney Glover. Here's Rob Stone.
Oh, Sean, if you're a fan of West Virginia, the situation about Pat White is a good news, bad news situation. What do you want first? I'll give you the good news, all right? The good news is he's going to play. The bad news is they're listing his play as kind of doubtful. Dave Kearns, the head trainer, told me that right thigh, which is heavily bandaged right now, you can see it underneath his pants, is at about 70% in the locker room. Ice, stretching, kept him mobile. But I walked in with White going into the locker room, guys. A noticeable limp and some serious grimacing going on.
And Matt Grothe, the quarterback for South Florida, keeps it on first down and goes for 3 to the 29-yard line. Reed Williams made the tackle. Here's a look at the injury. White at the end of an 18-yard run took Jerome Murphy's helmet off the right thigh and has been limping ever since.
Yeah, people wonder, well, don't you have a pad there? Yes, but you also have a natural separation between the thigh pad and the knee pad, and I guarantee you that face mask went into that exposed area.
Mike Ford fumbles again, and it rolls forward where it's recovered by Zach Herman, the right guard.
He might have been down. Let's take a look at it again. They come with the power O. Unconventional set, the eye backs for South Florida. So if I'm West Virginia, I wonder if you're getting a replay to see if he was down, because South Florida picked up 4 extra yards.
South Florida's already lost 2 fumbles. Grothe's thrown 2 interceptions. West Virginia threw 1 interception, lost 3 fumbles. 3rd down and 1, and I don't know. Jamar Taylor did not appear to get to that yellow line. Mountaineers think they have him stopped. Reed Williams, the middle linebacker, leading the defensive surge. Scooter Berry also in on the play.
They got to get past the 36. Good penetration. And from that angle, it looks like he is short. But again, the officials on the line marking it with the front foot.
It's possible the ball did get just to that yellow line. It is just short. Inches short. And Jim Levitt has a decision to make. So far, no movement from the punt team.
Here, I try to hard count them, but I would punt the football the way your defense is playing. You know Pat White's running around there about 70%. Too early in the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a defense and field position game of turnovers and mistakes. Don't give an offense that's struggling to move the ball on the 35-yard line. Well, as we said, go for it. Yeah. And get the first down. Grothe got the yard. First down, South Florida. The total yardage stats were almost dead even in the first half. And one surprise to me, the time of possession. West Virginia almost a 2-to-1 edge.
And again, points off turnovers. West Virginia leaving points all over the field. South Florida left a lot of points on the field. Frankly, West Virginia is lucky it's only 14 where South Florida's turnovers took place in the red zone of West Virginia's defense.
Defense has covered up the mistakes. Boy, Amari Jackson wants the ball thrown ahead of him, but Amari, catch the ball. You know, you've dropped a couple already. You're not really well positioned to be barking back at the quarterback.
And again, Amari's a good enough player where he normally makes that catch. He had room to run. But Grothe again has to give him room to work. And that, you know, Grothe's been a little off tonight. He's throwing the football, Sean. He's underthrown, and his timing's been off. When you throw behind receivers and you underthrow receivers, your timing's not clicking.
Grothe 8 out of 14 for 115 yards. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He hadn't thrown one all year in 3 games coming in. Pulls it down. Now has a lot of running room along the far sideline. And runs out of bounds in West Virginia territory. 16-yard rumble. First down, South Florida on the move to open the second half with a 14-3 lead.
That's what kills you right here. You're playing man-to-man defense, and if your pressure doesn't get there, all the defenders that are playing man-to-man backs are turned. That's why Matt Grothe is able to run with nobody closing in, because they're all facing up their man down the field.
We spoke with Greg Gregory, the offensive coordinator, asked him to tell us about Grothe. He said playmaker. And that's what he can do with his feet and his arm. Jamar Taylor, the ball carrier for 7. Grothe has always been poised beyond his years. Last year led them to the big season, 9 wins and a bowl victory as a redshirt freshman. When he was playing as a 7-year-old in youth football in Lakeland, his coach was a man by the name of Kenny Strong. The coaches were allowed to be on the field and in the huddle to help set up the offense. Coach Strong stayed on the sideline. The refs used to say, "Coach, you can be in the huddle." He said, "No, I have a quarterback who can run the offense. He doesn't need me." Even at age 7.
Smart coach.
Was ahead of his time. He handed it off to Jamar Taylor. Ivy the tackle, but it's another first down for the Bulls.
That's smart coach. Don't overcoach him, even at 7 years old.
2 times All-State at Lake Gibson in Lakeland. Big East Rookie of the Year last year when he led South Florida in passing and rushing. Rushed for over 600 yards. Likes to fish, particularly saltwater fish. Said he might like to have his own saltwater fishing show on ESPN someday.
Why not? I could be his co-host.
Grothe keeps. Reed Williams, the tackle. No, I'm waiting for you to do your muscle and fitness show. You need to do the Spielman workout plan for our national audience.
I think it would work. It's clear. It's clear to me with South Florida. I mean, they came in with the attitude that we're just gonna out physical and out tough West Virginia. That was their plan, and frankly, right now they're doing that. They're doing what they want up front. They're pushing that line of scrimmage and changing it.
First half was frenetic on both sides, and in the crowd, you almost get the sense that everybody is settling in here after halftime. The crowd isn't as raucous as it was from the very start of the game and even before. And the offense was starting to get a little bit of a rhythm before that timeout, which is why it was so frustrating to them. Well, Rob Stone, you know, he's everywhere, as we know, our intrepid sideline reporter. We're happy to have him back this week. But apparently he ran into Joey Galloway, who had something he wanted to say about Chris Spielman and his workout regimen.
Spielman, I heard you're getting soft. I heard that Stoney here is killing you in the weight room. I'm disappointing you, man. You're going to have to pick it up a little bit.
His traps are a joke right now, Joey. It's like 7th grade girls field hockey.
He's always been a little soft in the traps. We, you know, when he used to work out with us, he used to lift weights, you know, we would get in there before he got there because we didn't want to make him feel bad.
And Stoner would know about 7th grade girls field hockey since that's usually what he covers here on ESPN. What are traps for those of us who don't have any?
I can't hear. My traps are in my ears. That's supposed to be on top of your neck and shoulders. Joey, it's interesting. I mean, Joey's a great player. I didn't know they let guys over 50 play. I see all that gray beard in him. Come on, Joey. Brill cream. A lot of dab will do you, Joey.
2nd and 7. South Florida, the opening possession of the second half. Grothe, a quick strike, and it is incomplete. Broken up by Eric Wicks, who saw that coming raced up on Torres Johnson and almost picked it off. That play was not very well disguised. It was pretty obvious what was coming from just about right after the snap.
Yeah, Torres Johnson almost took a shot. Wicks. I saw the Wicks was on spot, defeated the blocker and had a great break on the football. Good thing that ball was dropped, because Torres Johnson would have paid a heavy price.
Eric Wicks, a fifth-year senior out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 30th career start. He believes this defense is much better than a year ago. Thinks they're much more physical and confident. Grothe on third down, runs for another first down. Belted to the boundary by Morty Ivy, but it's 10 yards. And the Bulls move the chains to the delight of the sellout crowd again.
It's a playmaker for you. Again, they're trying to come with a four-man rush, make it look like a blitz. But if you get nobody to penetrate up front, you're playing zone. Your defenders have to recognize when he crosses the line of scrimmage. That's when you can break your coverage. They're waiting too long to react. When Grothe crosses the line of scrimmage, then becomes ineligible to throw the ball.
47 yards rushing for Grothe now. He's the leading rusher in the game for either team. Hands it off this time to Jamar Taylor. Wrestled down by Reed Williams. With help at the bottom of the pile from Quentin Andrews.
Tackled by number 20, number 8, Quentin Andrews.
Well, among those in attendance tonight, Dick Vitale, great all-around sports fan, lives here in the Tampa Bay area. And the Schwab is here as well.
Wonder if they're quizzing each other. It's Vitale. Awesome, baby! Capital A.
Mrs. Vitale still waiting to speak her first words in the history of their marriage. The lovely Lorraine. There's Jamar Taylor into the end zone. Touchdown!
Different speed, Sean. Playing a notch above.
Second career touchdown for the true freshman out of Lakeland. Jamar Taylor, 5'9", 205 pounds with excellent speed. 19-yard run, and Delbert Alvarado adds the extra point. South Florida trying to take down another team ranked in the top 10 of the nation. They lead number 5 West Virginia 21-3.
West Virginia down 21-3 on the road. Things aren't going to get any easier. Pat White without his helmet right now. He will not go on to lead the offense. Instead, it'll be Jarrett Brown. And guys, I've been watching Jarrett Brown this entire second half. The only thing he's done so far, tighten his shoelaces. No running, no warm-up tosses, nothing. You had no idea who was going to go in until you saw White leave his helmet behind and Brown go in and start talking to the huddle.
Jarrett Brown, he's like the cheetah hunting the gazelles. They just go run. They don't stretch. So he must be ready to run. If he's hungry, he'll run.
Ball muffed by Von Rivers, and this possession will begin at the 20-yard line for Jarrett Brown, who came in late in the first half when White suffered the thigh injury. Sophomore from here in Florida, out of West Palm Beach Lakes High School. And as we said, started against Rutgers and led them to a triple overtime win last year against the Scarlet Knights in his first career start. He posted 317 yards of total offense in that game. Passed for 244 and a touchdown, scored on a 40-yard run. He has a lot of ability.
Not the breakaway speed runner that Pat White is, but certainly efficient to hurt you with his feet.
Brown comes out throwing and has Burrell Jala out for the 7-yard gain to the 27. Tyrone McKenzie made the tackle. So the Mountaineers down by 18 now after a 13-play drive to begin the second half by South Florida that covered 74 yards.
That's an aggressive call by Rich Rodriguez, getting him out, letting him sling the rock right away.
get his confidence going.
There's the first pass attempt of the night. The completion. Now this ball winds up back in the hands of Brown.
Problem if you're running the option offense, and that's a veer read by the quarterback right there. He either gives it to him or takes it away. Right there, it looked like he didn't know what to do. Or Schmidt didn't take it.
Pretty basic then. When you keep the ball after the fake handoff, take the ball.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah. You
Third down and 5, and the crowd making it very difficult. Looked like they were offside.
Got a freebie.
There are flags down. They have a man wide open. Tito Gonzalez all the way to the 43-yard line of South Florida. Woody George jumped across the line of scrimmage and got right in the face of Brown. He managed to avoid George, and it's a 32-yard play if it stands.
That's a classic mistake by Woody George right there.
Offsides. Number 90 on the defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
If you jump, go and wrap him up. I'm not saying take a kill shot on him, but you see Woody George coming right here. Wrap him up. You've got a clear shot. Well, I'll tell you though, Jarrett Brown does a good job of awareness, stepping up into that pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, finding the open wide receiver.
Ryan Gilliam made the tackle. And Jarrett Brown, former All-State quarterback in Class 6A high school football here in Florida, trying to lead the Mountaineers back. Gave it to big, powerful Owen Schmidt at 260 pounds, runs a sub 4.6 40, one of the strongest players on the team. Nate Allen finally took him down after a gain of 8.
Anytime you can establish any type of running game, you got to do it through the pass. You'll get South Florida's defense a little bit off balance, and you'll get them guessing as opposed to teeing off.
Slayton managed to avoid a hit near the line of scrimmage. He picks up another first down. George Selvey and Ben Moffitt combined on the tackle. Slayton still finding the running room very hard to come by. For the third year in a row, he's playing his third game against South Florida in as many years, hasn't rushed for 100 against them yet.
He's got to keep plugging away, and again, this offense does have the ability to score points and score points in a hurry, whether it's Pat White or Jarrett Brown at the helm.
12 carries, 50 yards for Slayton. Brown after the fakes, pulls it down and runs, and has a first down. Nifty run of 11 down to the 20-yard line. Carlton Williams the stop.
Let's see what Pat White's doing. He's giving him pumping a fist, telling him to protect the football. Watch how loose he is with his ball once he takes off. Okay, see, he's tucking away. See that ball hanging down there by his knee? He's lucky that didn't get whacked out of there. Pat White doing a good job of being a leader, coaching him up from the sidelines.
First and 10, West Virginia. Fast-moving third quarter. More than midway through this period. The pass from Brown too high for Darius Reynaud, and we check in with Rob Stone.
Just spoke with Dave Kearns, the head athletic trainer of West Virginia, and I asked him, does Pat White still have a chance to get in? His response, slim. White right now reduced to being a Heisman-worthy cheerleader.
And a leader, though. He can be a valuable asset to Jarrett Brown. And just by his little point of telling him to protect that football, Sean, that's being a football player and a team guy.
Well, not hanging his head despite the injury and being unable to play, despite the fact it's been a frustrating night. Second and 10. High snap, but he handled it 6'4". He's a solid 220 pounds. Brown got bounced down at the 16-yard line by Carlton Williams.
It's a good play because it's 3rd and 6, and that's a manageable third down for West Virginia. And I'm going to dare to say, depending on his play, they're in 2-down territory. I just got the feel that's how the game is going. They need to create some big points, not field goals, because they're not going to get back in it against this South Florida team.
Heavy rush. Reynaud the catch. Can't break the tackles. Drop for a loss. Carlton Williams again. Up from the secondary. Boy, he's had a solid game tonight.
Now they had 3 lead blockers out there, Sean. But nobody forgot to block. Everybody forgot to block Carlton Williams.
So it's 4th down. 8 yards to go and a field goal try upcoming. After Reynaud dropped for a loss. 35-yard attempt by Pat McAfee from the right hash mark. It is good. He has all 6 West Virginia points tonight. That gets them back within 2 scores. 21-6 South Florida. 5:54 to go in the 3rd.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, driven to thrill, and ESPN Game Plan. See the most college football every Saturday. To order, call your pay-per-view provider.
Located in the heart of Ybor City here in Tampa, Stogie Castillo's Cigar Lounge and Factory. They make the cigars the old-fashioned way, hand-rolled. It dates back to the early 1900s.
An art.
These Bulls fans hoping to puff away on a victory cigar after the game tonight. Their Bulls lead 21-6. 5:54 to go, 3rd quarter, as Pat McAfee kicks off for the Mountaineers after his 2nd field goal of the game. Jerome Murphy on the return, the sophomore from New Jersey. And a late flag thrown as Murphy goes down at the 28-yard line. Dennis Hennigan and his crew have done a nice job tonight. They haven't been taxed. There have been only 2 accepted penalties in this game, both against South Florida for only 15 yards. This will be another against the Bulls.
It's a credit to how well coached both these teams are. Sean, it's been amazing that there hasn't been as many flags.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 89 on the return team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the play. 1st down.
And we're pleased to welcome to our telecast. Hopefully we'll get him to come out of his shell tonight and participate actively. ESPN college basketball analyst extraordinaire Dick Vitale. How you doing, Dickie V?
Well, doing really great, Sean. I tell you, it's amazing. The environment. Think about this. Hey, a little better than 10 years ago, they didn't have a football. I think one of the great stories in intercollegiate athletics is what Jim Levitt has done. Packed house. They had a trailer where they had their offices in the past. He's done an amazing job.
Yeah, he had to help put up the goalposts on the practice field. He said when he got here, they didn't have offices. They didn't have a practice field. He said, we didn't have a strength and conditioning coach, but of course we didn't have to worry about that because we didn't have a weight room either. Matt Grothe, the ball carrier. When they practiced late in the day, he and his assistant coaches would pull their cars up near the field to light up the field because they didn't have lights. And now here they are in this beautiful state-of-the-art stadium shared with an NFL team that has hosted Super Bowls. And a penalty here for an illegal substitution against the Bulls.
12 players by the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Dick mentioned the trailer. They used to call it the Ponderosa, and that really looks better in the picture than it did in person. The last time I was here, they were still in those offices, and you'd hear banging on the aluminum outside. I asked Coach Levitt when we visited in his office, what is that? He said, oh, the baseball team's practicing. When they hit a home run, it hits the side of our trailer. Coach Levitt agitated. Grothe after the walk-off, running for his life and throws it away. And Dick, you live in this area. You're a big sports fan. You love baseball. We've seen you a lot of Devil Rays games over the years. But it really seems like this area has totally bought into this football program now.
Well, I think, Sean, think about this. An amazing job done by Mike Tranghese and the people out of the Big East to accept them. There was a lot of criticism, but Tranghese was a step ahead and realized how fertile the Florida area is. You look at the football program in Florida, they're absolutely amazing. It's because scholastic football here is so special. I usually go out to see the kids play, and I can tell you there's some great high school players in this area.
On the run, Benjamin Williams. Well, we've heard that you have become very familiar with Mike Ford, the very highly touted freshman who's from your area. You used to go watch him play in high school. He put up some incredible numbers during his high school career in the state.
Oh, I think he's going to be a phenomenal back. I think when it's all said and done, he is going to be great back here. He's got tremendous vision, speed, power. I think also you look at Mike Jenkins, a terrific defensive back. Watched him play in the Sarasota-Bradenton area, and Amari Jackson, who dropped 2 passes tonight, but is a special receiver. There are so many terrific kids. Remember this name, Casey Kelly, now playing quarterback at Sarasota High School, a special talent.
All right, Dick, thank you very much. We appreciate the visit. Tell Lorraine we said hello. And the Schwab, you're surrounded by greatness in that box there tonight.
I'll tell you this, they're all sitting around me. And don't get nervous, Sean. I know you love those Red Sox, but the Yankees to win the World Series.
All right, I might put a friendly wager on that with him. Alvarado's punt downed at the 45-yard line. It traveled 38 yards and a timeout. Welcome back to sold-out Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. 21-6, South Florida. The West Virginia moved the ball crisply on its last drive. They could punch in a touchdown here. They'd be right back in the ball game. 4:11 to go. Jared Brown in for the injured Pat White, showing that he can run as well. He runs for at least 10. They mark him out at the 44-yard line of the Bulls. 12 yards and a first down.
Right there is the reason why you go 100% Jared Brown as opposed to 70% Pat White. The ability to avoid the pass rush and make something happen with your feet. I don't think Pat would have been capable of picking up 10 yards with his bum leg.
Brown, low throw, and Steve Slayton couldn't save it off the top of the grass.
Pass intended for number 10, Steve Slayton.
I don't know if he would have caught much, Sean, if he would have caught the football right there, because he had 3 bulls coming with horns up to take him out. Again, their ability to see and break on the football is a credit to good coaching by Jim Levitt and Wally Burnham, but also their athleticism. Outstanding. Better than I thought it was.
4 wide receivers now for West Virginia. Noel Devine, the running back. They give it to the freshman.
Bye.
All the way down inside the 10-yard line. Nate Allen saved the touchdown. They'll mark him down at the 7. More of the same for Devine. He came into tonight with 24 carries for the year and was averaging 11 yards per carry. This one goes for 37.
Well, one of the things Noel Devine has for him is his small stature. He gets lost behind 6'5" bodies in offensive line. Good job of blocking and staying on your blocks and finishing. And Noel uses his speed to walk the tightrope on the left side of the field.
He's 5'8", 170. Brown was under center. Now shifts into the shotgun. West Virginia with a chance to get right back in the game. Busted play. Brown driven down back at the 9 by Ben Moffitt.
And Noel didn't get the memo. Right here, he's supposed to fake the dive. He goes the wrong way, and we're going to run the option with Brown and Owen Schmidt. Ben Moffitt, being steady as always and smart, wasn't fooled by the misdirection.
Second and goal from the 9. Brown up to the line so they can hear him. Under 3 minutes to go, third quarter. West Virginia looking for its first touchdown of the night. Brown with Moffitt in his face, throws it up for grabs, and it's intercepted. Bad decision by the young quarterback there. Nate Allen picked it off.
Throwing up back foot. If you're long, you're never wrong. You got that back end line to work with. Throw it to your guy or no guy. Again, they pick Owen Schmidt up here in the flat, but you see Moffitt continuing on the blitz off his back foot. Tries to make something happen with Renato opens early. But Nate Allen says, You didn't see me, Jared. I'm sneaking up on you. Throw it away.
Well, Ben Moffitt right in the face of Brown. Maynard was open for a while, but Brown couldn't get it there immediately with the pressure in his face. Mike Ford, the ball carrier. He goes for 3. So Nate Allen has the knack for the big play. It's his 3rd interception already this season in 4 games. He was the conference defensive player of the week for his performance against Auburn when he was involved in 3 turnovers. He is a playmaker, and Ben Moffitt said yesterday, I want to play in the NFL. We might be getting the attention of some NFL people who are here tonight.
Yeah, Nate Allen's getting some attention. He only a sophomore because he saved a touchdown on the parade before when Noel Devine took off down the sidelines.
Wealthy in the flat for Benjamin Williams. Out of bounds, short of the first down at the 27-yard line. Knocked out by Eric Wicks. Gain of 4. Moffitt says if the pro football thing doesn't work out, he'd like to coach. Said his high school coach here in the state of Florida, Edmund Sherman, was a great influence on his life. And he'd like to take the lessons he learned and impart his wisdom to other young people.
Worthy cause.
Jamar Taylor in trouble and collared down. It's Eric Wicks again. And here's a young man who, when it was going so poorly last year, Wicks, that he used to have anxiety attacks. He'd have trouble after the games, would get violently ill. They're giving him some medication this year. He's relaxed a little bit. Jeff Castile, the defensive coordinator, said, hey, last year we didn't play well early. Our guys got a lot of criticism. We had a lot of new starters, and the whole thing kind of snowballed, and we just never played well. We think we're going to be a lot better this year. And the defense has actually played pretty well tonight.
I agree. They've had a couple of bad series, but overall they've played well enough to win. But it's tough to win anything when you keep giving the ball to the other team.
Alvarado to punt. Under some pressure. It is short. No chance for Rivers. And it is downed at the 39-yard line by Louis Gachette. Time for another Sports Center 30 at 30 update. Here's Dari Nilka.
Guys, the National League East has been turned upside down. Ryan Howard hit his 45th. Phillies win 6-0 over Washington. The Mets are trailing as they are batting in the bottom of the ninth. If this holds, Phillies will have a 1-game lead, and the Mets would be out of playoff position. Meanwhile, Cecil Cooper, no longer the interim manager of the Houston Astros, today named the full-time manager. Details on SportsCenter after baseball on ESPN. You can stay current with ESPN News.
Well, that Mets collapse is stunning. Jared Brown takes the shotgun snap. Jollo the catch. Burrell down at the 46-yard line in the arms of Mike Jenkins. 7-yard gain.
Jared Brown is just going to have to work the ball down the field. And again, they have time, and they do have the ability, in which you'll see in the fourth quarter, where they get a little bit more sense of urgency and run the plays at a quicker pace.
Noel Devine, the running back. Brown faked it to him, gets the first down, and held on to the ball as Ben Moffitt took him down at the 46-yard line. And there's a Bull slow to get up. And it's Jerome Murphy.
Young man has played well tonight. Started the game as a nickel back. And he really has done well against the pass, but been very aggressive from the nickel back position, which essentially in the nickel defense is an extra linebacker. That small body playing in there, and he's been throwing it around pretty good. You hear him yelling, Tyler. You got to get Tyrone back in the ball game. McKenzie, who's been active.
1st and 10, West Virginia. They marched down inside the 10 a moment ago, and then Brown threw an interception. Now Devine in a world of trouble and swarmed under. Back at the West Virginia 47. Alan Cray leading the defensive charge. Ben Moffitt also there, to the delight of his family. We mentioned earlier he's been married since he was 17 years old to wife Shauna. There she is. Their son Trevor, daughter Rylan, ages 4 and 3 here tonight. And we're heading to the fourth quarter. In the biggest game in South Florida history. They're leading 21-6.
The chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup is on ABC.
Welcome back to ESPN2's College Football Primetime. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you in high definition and presented by Pioneer Curo HD TV. On to the fourth quarter. It sold out Raymond James Stadium. First sellout in the 11-year history of the South Florida football program. More than 65,000 here. Hoping to watch South Florida beat a top 10 opponent for the third year in a row, including West Virginia for the second straight year. Jared Brown in trouble and taken down. First sack of the night for South Florida. They've been applying the pressure all night long. Jared Bowie credited with this one, the senior from Tampa.
Well, Jared Bowie is a senior playing in a big game, playing like he's supposed to play. He already caused the fumble tonight. You see him beat off the double team, keep hustling and pursuing. Then you have a bunch of other gold helmets coming to finish the job. Jared Bowie, step up and take a bow, baby. There's another defensive end on this South Florida defense, and his name is Bowie.
Third down, West Virginia's 3 out of 11. This is third down and 24. And they won't pick it up, but they get a lot of the 24. West Lyons, his first catch of the night. Tyler Roberts made the tackle. Lyons is a sophomore out of Woodland Hills High School in the Pittsburgh area. They got enough to give them a chance to go for it now on fourth down. Fourth down and 4 after a 20-yard gain.
You know, you have to go for it. And I've been wondering, you got a 6'8" target out there. Got a 7-inch height advantage out on the corner. Let him run the sticks and throw the jump ball. West Lyons is 6'8".
Jared Brown in relief of the injured Pat White, who got injured late in the first half. Throw short. The ball pops out into the hands of Ben Moffitt. Jerome Murphy there to help knock it in the air. Steve Slayton couldn't come up, and Mrs. Moffitt loves it. Her husband's a fifth-year senior. He didn't have an interception for his career until last week when he had one against North Carolina. He's added 2 more tonight, including a touchdown.
Yeah, he's on a roll, and again, it's running to the football. Slayton doesn't have a ball he can work with. Murphy delivers the shot, and Moffitt, being smart, being in position, capitalizes. Slayton actually did a great job of tackling Moffitt, or Moffitt would be in the end zone celebrating number 2. A touchdown for each kid.
2 nice drives for West Virginia, but both end in interceptions. 6 turnovers now. Grothy on the rollout. Threw it short for Marcus Edwards. He's to the 50 for a gain of 5 for the junior from Mayo, Florida. Just his 3rd catch of the season. First tonight, Ridwan Malik, a backup defensive back, made the tackle.
Right there you saw Ben. He was telling us he had his mohawk. His wife was trimming it. He said she messed it up in the back, so he just had to go with the clean shave. She might have messed it up on purpose.
Yeah, I don't think most wives would be a big fan of the husband sporting a mohawk. Grothy, the first down, and he got banged around at the 43-yard line. Reed Williams made the tackle. Well, there have been 10 turnovers combined in the game, and we're only halfway to the record. Back to 1969, Florida State and Wichita State combined for 20 turnovers.
Coach Corso, the tailback for Florida State back then?
I had to think that might have been a bad weather day. Shamar Taylor to the 38. Quality first down gain. He got 5. Eric Wicks and Mark Magro made the tackle. And now time beginning to become a concern for West Virginia, down by 15 as we approach 12 minutes remaining.
And South Florida's doing exactly what they want to do. West Virginia knows they're going to run the football to eat clock up. So you got to stack the run, but you can't let them get 5 yards on first down. 2nd and 5. They got you. They can do what they want with you.
West Virginia 26-3 over the last 29 games. One of those losses last year to South Florida. in danger of another loss to the Bulls. Reed Williams takes down Grothy back at the 40-yard line. Loss of a couple, 3rd down and 7 to come.
It's a big down for West Virginia's defense. Force some type of punt. If I'm West Virginia, what I do is I try to play man-to-man, but you have to watch Grothy. What has he done? He's hurt you with his feet. When the back is turned by the defenders, Grothy takes off and runs.
Grothy, a secondary education major, says he'd like to teach and coach in high school. Had a test yesterday when we were talking with him. Threw that up for grabs, and it was incomplete, intended for Taurus Johnson. Taurus is a great name for a Bull.
Yes, sir. And watch Reed Williams carry the vertical receiver down the middle of the field to allow safety to come over and deliver the shot. That's what I'm talking about. When you play linebacker, you help your safeties by carrying vertical receivers to the safeties, and you'll give yourself a chance to defend.
Delbert Alvarado the punt. On Rivers standing back at the 8-yard line. He's a dangerous return man, all Big East last year. As a returner, Rich Rodriguez says he's on the verge of breaking one. He's surprised if they kick it to him. Alvarado with some backspin. It landed at the 10 and will be downed near the 19-yard line. 25-yard punt, a timeout. Welcome back to college football prime time. South Florida, no stranger to big upsets. The last 3 seasons, they beat a ranked team. In 2005, they upset number 9 Louisville in their first Big East Conference game. Last year was number 7 West Virginia, which fell in Morgantown 24-19. Grothy to Ian Randolph for a touchdown. And then earlier this month, they went up to Jordan-Hare Stadium, beat then number 17 Auburn in overtime, as Grothy found Jesse Hester Jr. in the end zone. Jim Leavitt, when we spoke with him yesterday, acknowledged this would be the biggest win in program history. It would also be the highest ranked opponent they had ever defeated. West Virginia ranked number 5, but certainly not dead and buried yet with more than 11 minutes to go. Looked like the Bulls might have been offside. No flags down. And there is a flag down now. Jerome Murphy collared Jarrett Brown. About a 9-yard gain. Probably want to take the play. 2nd and 1 instead of 1st and 5, you think?
Yeah, I take the play, but I think, first of all, it was close to being offsides. It looked to me like he got a good jump, but that's what South Florida's front four.
Number 76 on the defense. The penalty is declined. It will be 2nd down.
Has been doing all night, Sean. You'll take a look at it here on a replay. As soon as his head goes up, they time it up. Ooh, that is close.
It's offside.
Yeah. Close to being offside. Cleaver's been in there all night.
No, he was offside.
No, close to being offside, just like you said. Yep.
Richard Kleibert, strongest player on the defense. So if he said he wasn't offside, I wouldn't argue with him. He benches about 550. 2nd and 1. Brown. Good footwork. 1st down to the 31-yard line. Carlton Williams, the tackle. And we'll tick down to 10.5 minutes to go. They stopped the clock for a moment to move the chains. They moved the ball under Jarrett Brown here in the 2nd half, but a couple of interceptions have really hurt the Mountaineers.
And you can see why Jarrett Brown is in the ball game. He's more effective running the ball. Like I said earlier, 100% as opposed to the 70% Pat White would be bringing.
Juggle the snap. Running out of time. Throws it up for grabs. Out of bounds. Threw it away. Mike Jenkins made an attempt, but couldn't come down with it.
Jarrett certainly made a better decision as opposed to the pass in the end zone that was picked off as far as throwing it out of bounds. It's okay to live to fight another down. That's what you have to do. To become a good quarterback, you can't force everything. Throw it away.
Just joined us, Pat White, the outstanding quarterback, Heisman Trophy candidate, Big East Player of the Year last year, injured his thigh after he took a helmet to the thigh late in the 1st half. Left the game, replaced by Brown. White has not returned. White had trouble on the connection. Had to gobble it up and go down back at the 25-yard line. Ben Moffitt there as he couldn't connect with Owen Schmidt as he tried to pull the ball back.
Stop running the option, because this is twice that this happened. Good snap, and again, it's ball handling. It's not even a fake, it's ball handling. He's not probably used to running that with the first team. Pat White runs that option, and it's difficult to run. You're going to see it catches the hip of Owen Schmidt. Secure the football.
Like Schmidt might have grazed him on the way by. 3rd down and 15. Deafening noise again from the sellout crowd. Brown throwing a deep ball, one-on-one coverage, and it is caught. What a catch by Jallo with the defender. Trey Williams draped all over him. Flags fly from everywhere. 44-yard gain. It would have been pass interference anyway. But Darrell Jallo, the junior from Greensboro, North Carolina, made a terrific catch with Williams on top of him.
And Coach Vitale would be proud. Jallo during that play did a great job.
Pass interference, number 21 on the defense. The penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
Of boxing out Trey Williams. Take a look. Watch Jallo use his body for position. See him lean into the defensive back. That creates the penalty. And also Trey Williams tried to hook him. Excellent job of vision and concentration on finishing the play.
5 catches for Darrell. Crowd turning up the volume. 1st and 10 from the 31 of South Florida. Very nearly a lateral, perhaps it was, and Brandon Hogan taken down immediately by Jerome Murphy. Boy, Murphy and Moffitt have made a number of big plays.
They're stepping up. The whole defense, Sean. We've done 4 football games to this game. This is the best tackling team that I've seen in person, and frankly, that I've seen on TV. One of the top 5 that I've seen on TV as far as making open field tackles, and a miss.
Boy, they're strong, they're fast, they're very disciplined. They talked about the need to play assignment football, and they have. Rich Rodriguez wants his team to speed it up. Down by 15 with 8.5 to go, and this is the defense that is also very well coached. Brown, again, a good tackle in space by Tyrone McKenzie, the Iowa State transfer. He transferred here, and then a month later, his former head coach Dan McCarney wound up assisting Wally Burnham on the defensive staff. There's Dan McCarney, 12 years at Iowa State as the head coach, led them to some of their best days, but let go at the end of last year. Longtime friend of Jim Leavitt and doing a great job as the defensive line coach.
What an asset to have next head coach on your staff.
Another 3rd down for Brown. They converted a moment ago. This time he drops the ball and picks it back up, and they get the 1st down and much more. Flag down. Brown down at the 15. Tyrone McKenzie there again. This one's going against West Virginia.
The killer. Again, they're very loose with that football.
Number 73 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage.
Jake Figner, the right tackle, the veteran junior from Fogelsville, Pennsylvania, making his 18th career start tonight. That's a hold.
Yeah, he had the hook on him. You know, he's got to feel his quarterback going out, let go of the hook, cut the pressure of the defensive lineman off. Once you got the hook on him, throw it off right away. 3rd and 15. It seems like we've been saying that a lot tonight for the West Virginia offense.
First penalty of the night against West Virginia. Wipes out the 1st down. Sets up 3rd and 15 from the 36. 7:20 to go. South Florida leading by 15. Brown hit as he throws almost another interception for Moffitt, who's had 2 already tonight, one of which he returned for the 1st touchdown of the game.
Yeah, he's going for the hat trick. And he had it. The problem was that was too easy for him to catch. It wasn't deflected or wasn't thrown in his face mask. Again, but the pass is thrown poorly, caused by the pressure of the front floor of South Florida. They keep bringing it and bringing it and bringing it.
They're going for it on 4th and 15. Field goal really does them little good here with 7:14 to go. Garrett Brown with plenty of time. Throws, has a man. 1st First down, West Virginia. West Lions, the clutch catch. Trey Williams, the coverage, but not very tight. They get 25 yards on 4th down and 15. A head scratcher for Jim Levitt.
Well, stand up, West Virginia offensive line. You're challenged. You know they're coming, and yet you do a good job of picking up stunts, creating a pocket for Jarrett Brown to throw to the big fella at 6'8", West Lions, who does a good job of coming back to the football and catching it with his hands.
10th play of the drive. Slayton, who's virtually a forgotten man, just his 13th carry of the ball game. Good for about 5, giving him 55 yards for the night.
You know, clock's starting to become a factor, Sean. You're at 6 minutes and counting, 6:30 and counting.
Couple of big conversions on this drive. Brown fighting valiantly, and a couple of little missteps along the way, but he's also made some big plays. Moffitt the tackle, 3 yards short of the first down. Here's Rob Stone.
You guys are talking about the essence. Time is of the essence right now. Rich Rodriguez has been preaching that, guys, this entire drive. Hurry up, speed it up. A precarious situation, though, Sean. He needs to make sure his QB is comfortable with what's being called.
He's agonizing again as the play clock runs down to 7. 3rd down and 3. He throws into the end zone. Touchdown, Darius Reynaud.
Pass complete to number 2, Darius Reynaud. Touchdown, West Virginia.
They're within 9, and Rich Rodriguez sends the extra point team on to get within 8.
A clutch throw right there. Jarrett Brown rising above the defensive line to throw. 6'4" helps you.
9-yard touchdown to their big playmaker at the receiver position, Reynaud. McAfee the extra point. 12-play drive, went 85 yards, engineered by the backup quarterback. The conversions along the way of the story. It's an 8-point game.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Volkswagen. When you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you. And Knocked Up, the summer's biggest comedy hit, is even funnier on DVD. Own it now.
Back on the outskirts of downtown Tampa at Raymond James Stadium. Record crowd, 67,012 in this beautiful facility. It's a big payday as well. They do about $1.3 million in ticket revenue. That's about twice what they usually do for a home game. The Buccaneers share in the parking and concessions, so it's a nice day at the bank for them as well. Pat McAfee kicks off. Torres Johnson to the 29, and a late flag thrown. Sidney Glover's made a couple of nice plays on special teams. Made the tackle.
Blocking the back right there. Just once the runner's past you, no use in blocking in the back. Let him go.
Illegal block in the back. Number 39 on the return team. 10-yard penalty.
Richard Kelly, the penalty. See if the South Florida offense can get moving. They've had just 100 yards of offense in this half. Saturday night on ABC, ESPN, ESPN2. All these games at 8 Eastern time. Some of the top teams in the country. Number 1 USC at Washington on ABC. Auburn at number 4 Florida on ESPN. And at ESPN2, Ohio State ranked 8th at Minnesota. You know, they get conservative and sit on this lead. All the momentum right now is on the side of West Virginia.
Yeah, you got Jarrett Brown who's feeling it. Made 2 great throws. Jeff Castillo, the defensive coordinator for West Virginia, has a goal of 6 3-and-outs every game. Boy, what a big 3-and-out for them. Do some justice. Not only creates momentum, but field position for the offense.
Amari Taylor dropped for a 2-yard loss by Keelan Dykes. All Big East nose tackle. He's been injured the last couple of weeks with a foot injury. Played very few snaps. That ball thrown into traffic, but caught
short of the first down by about 3 yards. Taurus Johnson, the junior from Cape Coral, Florida, near Fort Myers in southwest Florida. 11 yards on the game, but they'll need 2 more for a first down. Williams and Wicks, the tackle.
I'll tell you, Williams came hard, too. Taurus Johnson did a good job of holding on to that football. Knocked one of his chin strap holders loose.
There's 3 for 7 this half is Grothy. Wishbone look and a first down for Jamar Taylor. They've shown that formation a few times this season. Reed Williams and Ryan Mundy the tackle. But they've had to make a lot of changes. Greg Gregory is the new offensive coordinator here. He was the tight ends coach last year. 2 assistant coaches who were on the South Florida staff last year left after last season and went to West Virginia. Greg Fry, now the offensive line coach for the Mountaineers, and Rod Smith, the quarterback coach. So Greg Gregory, in anticipation of this game in the offseason, changed the terminology, their audibles, a lot of the formations, because they were afraid that the coaches on the other side with the knowledge would cause problems. Taylor, the ball carrier.
Yeah, they were wise to do that, Sean, in the spring. It gave them time to get used to it. All at camp, they changed their whole numbering system. You know, they have the quarterback coming back, a lot of veterans coming back on an offensive line. These are smart kids. They did a good job of picking it up.
And the last snap came with 11 on the play clock. This one with 8. Grothy could take it down longer if he wanted to. Jamar Taylor, Mountaineers saying he fumbled. He did not, but he got no gain on the play. Taylor originally committed to Nick Saban at Alabama, then changed his mind, had some family issues. He's from here in Florida, so wanted to stay closer to home in Lakeland due to an illness in his family. Big third down coming here. 3rd down and 8. Bulls on their own 30. South Florida leading 21-13 against the number 5 team in the country. 3:05 to go. West Virginia, all 3 timeouts left.
Yep. Amari Jackson up top, working one-on-one.
Grothy spins toward the rush and is swung down by Johnny Dingle. First sack for West Virginia. And a timeout called by the Mountaineers with 4th down upcoming way back at the 16-yard line.
That was a design spin. You'll see Matt Grothy right here. He's coming. There's no pressure yet. Feels the spin, and he's going to work Amari Jackson. Dingle, not to be fooled, does a great job of keeping contained and uses those big paws. Latches onto the jersey of Grothy and makes a big play for the defense, and more importantly for his offense, because they have a chance to create some nice field position.
Well, here's Delbert Alvarado to punt to the dangerous Vaughn Rivers. West Virginia should have excellent field position. Rivers does have a punt return for a touchdown in his career. Last year, a 50-yarder against Mississippi State. 2 timeouts left for each team now.
He's got to catch the ball. He hasn't done a good job of fielding the shorter punts.
And this is a good one by Alvarado at the best possible time. Rivers driven back to the 25, and great coverage as well by Louis Gachette. 56-yard punt, and great coverage by Gachette. 2:41 to go. West Virginia touchdown and a 2-point conversion away from a tie. West Virginia in position to tie with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. And they're doing without their 2 key stars contributing tonight. It's Jared Brown, the backup quarterback, converted a 4th and 15 on their last drive, and then threw the touchdown pass to Darius Reynaud to get them within 8. Pat White, the starting quarterback, injured late in the first half. Took a helmet to the thigh and has not returned. And Steve Slayton has been a non-factor. He's rushed for 54 yards, had only 2 carries in this half. Wes Lyons the catch. It is the role players on this team doing the job right now for West Virginia. Lyons, an 8-yard catch to the 38. They'll try to go quickly with 2 timeouts remaining.
Jared Brown is used to this. He's been in this position before. He has great composure for a backup quarterback.
Brown's 10 out of 16 for 144. He's sacked by Richard Claiborne.
Huge sack. Back to the 29. It'll be 3rd down and 11, and the clock ticks down to 2 minutes.
That sack's on Jarrett Brown. It's essentially a 3-step drop where he receives the snap from shotgun. He's got to deliver the ball. You can't hold it because the offensive line is short-setting the defensive line.
5 wide receivers. Impossible to hear. Brown steps up, throws off the hand of his receiver. Jala couldn't come up with it. Incomplete. They'll have to convert another 4th down. Here's the ball game right here.
Wes Lyons has been the guy. He's been running the comeback route. We'll see if they go to it again. South Florida has their main man, Mike Jenkins, matched up on Wes Lyons.
One of the big plays in the history of South Florida football right here.
There's Wes Lyons up top.
5 wide receivers for the sophomore Jarrett Brown. He's going to try to run for it. Has to do some work. He does the work and more. Across midfield and out of bounds at the 44-yard line of South Florida. Tyler Roberts forced about 27 yards when it looked like it was about to be game over for the Mountaineers.
Boy, again, composure. He waited to the last possible second, Sean, before he took off running. His eyes stayed downfield. He says, if I want to make something happen, I'll do it with my legs. And guess what? I'll throw the old school stiff arm on him and go ahead and get the first and then some.
A 4th and 15 on the last drive. A 4th and 11 here when they absolutely had to have it. 62 yards rushing for Brown on 14 carries to the delight of the man who replaced Pat White. Minute and a half to go. Catch made. 39-yard line. Jock Sanders, the freshman. Nate Allen, the tackle. Gain of 5. 2nd and 5. They need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. 1:15 to go. 2 timeouts for each team.
Yeah, any question about South Florida playing any type of prevent wrong? They're bringing people. It's athlete versus athlete. Line up and play.
4 receivers. Noel Devine, the back. Brown flushed. Brown dropped down near the line of scrimmage. A loss of about a ½ yard. It's George Selvey and Jared Bowie. And a timeout called by West Virginia with 52 seconds to go, leaving them with 1.
See, again, just the constant pressure. You get a push from inside, but Selvey's never going to quit. Effort, effort, and guess what? More effort. And he helps make the play along with his partner, the other bookend, Jared Bowie.
Officially a sack, 3rd of the night for South Florida.
And ensuring safety is appreciated.
And I think these folks who came here, a lot of them have probably never been to a South Florida game before. They'll be back.
They should be. And this is what college football can do for a community. That's awesome. And you can think about it. That's why pro football, college football, anything football in a football-hungry state, it can thrive. And we're seeing college football thrive tonight here in Tampa.
The Big East took a chance on this South Florida program, believing in the potential. And boy, has it paid off. One of the reasons why the Big East is one of the great stories in college football the last couple of years. The rise of this man's program. 3rd down and 6 from the 40-yard line. Brown dumps it. Incomplete. Nobody there in the middle of the field. He had all kinds of pressure in his face. Can they convert on yet another 4th down?
Boy, I love what South Florida's doing, Sean. They're blitzing. Ben Moffitt comes up on the blitz. They're locking down each receiver man to man. If I'm Rich Rodriguez, I might want to think about rolling out. They're blitzing up the middle. If you break contain, you're running forever if you're Jared Brown. He's trying to get his attention over there.
Hard to do. 67,000 plus, making that nearly impossible. This would be the shortest 4th down they will have had to convert here in the 4th quarter. 4th and 6. Brown, low throw. Is it a catch? No, say the officials. It skipped into West Lyons. Undoubtedly, it'll be reviewed, but if it stands, South Florida is going to have the biggest victory in school history.
No, he did drop the ball. You know, the ball's not thrown poorly. He's throwing it low because he has a defender coming over the back. Just a little short, though. West Lions has got to work his way back to the ball. He was way past the sticks.
No question it was an incomplete pass. And an easy call for Charlie Phillips.
The ruling on the field was incomplete. Incomplete. Ruling on the field was incomplete.
Can you hear me, Denny?
You're confirming?
I can confirm the ruling on the field. It is incomplete. Thanks.
That was the side judge call.
When Dennis Hennigan makes this announcement, the eruption.
Incomplete pass.
Derek Brown led the Mountaineers back valiantly, made some great plays, made some mistakes. For the second year in a row, West Virginia plays South Florida while ranked in the top 10 in the country. And for the second year in a row, the Mountaineers will go down. Third season in a row, South Florida has defeated a team ranked in the top 10. Louisville 2 years ago ranked 9th. West Virginia 7 last year and 5 this year. And for the second year in a row, they totally stifled Pat White and Steve Slayton. Our TiVo combo to watch. White didn't play in the second half. Slayton was a total non-factor in the second half, carried it only twice.
Yeah, and the reason what they're doing, what makes Pat White and Steve Slayton so good is they can make people miss. Well, tonight, South Florida didn't throw any no-hitters. Their defenders were outstanding in tackling. They didn't miss tackles. They made open field tackles. They made gang tackles, and they played with such a passion and a purpose. They outplayed. They wanted it more than West Virginia.
Yeah. You know, last year a lot of good things happened, turnovers, some key mistakes by West Virginia. You know, this year, as you say, they deserve to win the football game.
Yeah, they won it. And, you know, frankly, you can't turn it over 7 times and expect to win the ball game. It's not going to happen.
Here's Rob Stone.
Hey, Sean, maybe it's just me, but I think they're prepared to manually take down the goalpost. I spoke with one Florida Highway patrolman. I said, what happens if U.S. wins? He goes, we know they're coming. I go, what do you do? He goes, get out of the way.
And that includes you, Stoner. Even though with your weight program now, you are a strapping 150 pounds. Grothy takes a knee.
Let the celebration begin. You think running of the Bulls is something in Spain? Watch the run of the Bulls coming right here.
Managing loss to West Virginia. So much talent in the top of the rankings. It remains to be seen if a one-loss team to get back in the national championship picture. But right now, there are a lot of folks ahead of them. Yeah. They didn't play like a team that's a national championship contender tonight.
No, they came out sluggish. And again, 6 turnovers, 7 turnovers. What does it matter? They turned the ball over. It's tough to win on the road. And one of them went for a touchdown.
And this will be the last time they have to snap it. Grothy takes a knee. The biggest game in South Florida history ends with the biggest win in the history of this 11-year-old Bulls football program. And Chris, when you look at their schedule, we talk about the eye toward a Big East championship, and Jim Leavitt says that's the goal, but they can quickly get in the national championship picture. Their toughest game left is at Rutgers, and that'll obviously have all kinds of implications. But other than that, they have a schedule at FAU, Central Florida here, at UConn, Cincinnati here, at Syracuse, Louisville here. Suddenly that doesn't look quite as tough. And at Pittsburgh, they're going to be favored to win, I think, every one of those games except at Rutgers.
You keep your eye on this game, Sean, when the Cincinnati Bearcats come down here to Tampa. Cincinnati can play them tough. They did it last year.
And Jim Leavitt knows that he's with Rob Stone.
Coach Leavitt, where does this win rank in USF history?
Oh, Lord, I don't know. You know, the defense played so good. How you talking about heck of of a deal with West Virginia. I mean, how many times did they make those fourth down plays? I was beginning to wonder what I don't know whether we were trying to, I don't know what we're doing, but it's a great win for us. It certainly is. It's great for the Tampa Bay area and great for South Florida. We got to get ready for FAU. I'm thinking about FAU.
I saw you pregame. How are you so calm right now compared to where you were before kickoff?
Well, it's over now. You can't, whether you win or lose, can't do it about now. But it's a big win for everybody around here. It's pretty neat stuff. We're good stuff.
Understatement, Coach. It's looking good. I got jail. Where do you guys rate now in the Big East?
Oh, I don't know. It's a long race. Everybody can beat everybody in the Big East. There is nobody that's a front runner, I'll promise you. Everybody's even.
Coach, I want you to strut a little bit. What does this win say about South Florida football?
Well, it does. It's a good win for us, but you got to. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I really don't. We got to improve in a lot of ways, and I just want to focus in on trying to get ready for FAU.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations. Guy used to have to put the goalposts up on the practice field. A little different atmosphere in here tonight. That Coach Talk was presented by Liberty Mutual. Coach Levitt already trying to get his team focused on next week. They'll party tonight. West Virginia licking its wounds as they head back to Morgantown. 21-13 the final. The Contender coming up next and over on ESPN Sports Center. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Chris Spielman, Rob Stone, Sean McDonough saying good night from Bulls Country, Tampa, Florida. And actually those 54 yards for Steve Slayton, better than a year ago when he rushed for 43 in West Virginia's loss at home to the South Florida Bulls. They billed this as the biggest game in the 11-year history of the South Florida program. And the atmosphere is certainly indicative of that. The party continues, and somewhere down there is Rob Stone with Ben Moffitt, the fifth-year senior linebacker, had 2 interceptions tonight, 1 return for the game's first touchdown. Stoner?
Well, Ben, it's hard to pick a point to start, but let's begin with your interception that got things going. What did that play mean to this game?
I believe it was huge, but I just want to thank the Lord. I thank my teammates. If it wasn't for them, it wouldn't have happened. So, and it was just being in the right place at the right time, making a great play. I just thank the Lord.
What does this win say about South Florida football?
I mean, it's a huge statement win. But, it's something we got to do to put this program where it's supposed to go. So that's what we're doing.
Where do you guys now rate in the state of Florida?
I ain't worried about that. We got a game next week. We got to continue to win, and we'll take care of itself.
Insane atmosphere, sellout crowd here. What did the atmosphere do for you guys today?
I love the crowd. The crowd is awesome. It's amazing. It creates a great atmosphere for us to play in. They're great.
Real quickly, you've been here for 4 years. You've seen a lot of South Florida football. Where does this moment rate?
It's up there. Right now, it's at the top.
Go enjoy.
It's the highest ranked opponent that they've ever defeated, but they've now defeated a top 10 team 3 years in a row. West Virginia last year when they were ranked 7, Louisville 2 years ago when they were ranked 9. But this is the number 5 team in the country that came here with national championship hopes. And South Florida did just about the same thing that they did to them last year up in Morgantown. Totally took Steve Slayton and Pat White out of the game.
Well, they came out with a purpose, Sean, and their front 4 dominated the front offensive line of West Virginia. The other thing that they did, they tackled well. Tackling's been a lost art in college football. If you watch tonight's game, you saw guys making tackles as gang tackles. Also, individual tackles on Pat White and Steve Slayton. You want to know how to stop them? Don't let them make you miss. If you make open field tackles on those two, you got a chance to slow down West Virginia.
Well, Rob Stone asked Ben Moffitt the question, where does South Florida fit in the state now? For so many years, it's been the big 3, Miami, Florida, and Florida State. Without question now, they're the big 4. South Florida deserves to be in that conversation. They are emerging now as not only a Big East contender, but with an outside shot perhaps at a national title as we send you back to Sports Center.
Thank you, men. Analysis provided entirely from The Ohio State University. We have Spielman, we have Robert Smith here with us, and I couldn't help but think of that old NFL Films shot of Lawrence Taylor saying, come out and play like a bunch of crazed dogs, and that South Florida defense to me seemed like from the jump They attacked West Virginia. Was that, in your mind, the key to this football game?
Yeah, no question about it. And you also had the 12th man advantage. I'll tell you, Raymond James Stadium is no joke. We lost one game in 1998 when I was with the Vikings, and it was to Tampa down there in Raymond James Stadium. You got to remember, these fans were pumped up. They were talking about this all week long, very excited going into this game. But you saw so many mistakes offensively from West Virginia early. You saw the miscues, the interception, the fumbles, the bad snaps. But you can't take anything away from South Florida because, like you said, they came out, they were fired up, they were ready for this game, they were attacking the entire game.
You look at the numbers from Slayton, it's remarkable. Last year was held under 50 yards. In this game, he gets 54, but you're talking about 6 turnovers. And this is a team that a lot of people, and I put myself in that camp, I felt like West Virginia ought to have been included in that elite group. But they clearly, in this game, did not perform at a level that a national championship type program ought to. Why not?
Yeah, well, I think that you hit it right on the head there. They are talented enough to be there, but why didn't they perform? I think it was the miscues. They weren't ready mentally for this game. That's the way it looked like to me. Those players, I don't want to say that those guys were scared, but they certainly weren't ready for the type of game that they were going to be facing against South Florida. And I'll tell you, you could see it early and throughout the game from this South Florida defense. I mean, they were attacking. They were as pumped up at the end of the game as they were at the beginning game. Great game for Ben Moffitt. Really did a great job for them. But this West Virginia offense, those players making mistakes like that, you have to weather the storm. When you're on the road in a game like that early, the crowd's so rowdy and everybody's just so pumped up. You can't make those kind of mistakes early in the ball game because it's not like South Florida did anything extremely great offensively. Nope. It's not like they lit the world on fire offensively. Nope. The West Virginia defense played pretty well in this game.
You know, Jim Leavitt's an easy guy to enjoy. He's their head coach at South Florida. You're going to learn his name. He is wild on the sidelines, and there was a time before where it was almost kind of like a novelty. Oh, he's kind of fun down there at South Florida, that nice little program. Well, you go on the road and you win at Auburn. Now you beat West Virginia at home, and all of a sudden you might be the team that's the odds-on to win the Big East. How good can South Florida be? And I'm not talking about 2-3 years. I'm talking about right now. How good could they be?
They could be a very good team, but when I look at their schedule, I see the game at Rutgers, and you have to remember the Rutgers offense, they're not a horizontal running team. They are right down the hill, and that's where West Virginia had the limited success that they had running the football today, where it was quick-hitting, downhill plays. Running sideline to sideline against this South Florida defense wasn't working for them, but they do get Louisville and Cincinnati at home for South Florida. But I'll tell you, Rutgers, I think, is the team right now, my favorite to win the Big East.
Well, and they'll have West Virginia at home and South Florida at home. So perhaps we've seen Louisville fall, we've seen West Virginia fall. Now it remains to see if Rutgers can hold serve once they get the Big East. Robert, thanks so much.
You got it.
All right.